It's the only child in the whole family.
The first time in your life.
We're recording, folks. Just FYI.
Not that it matters. Okay.
So before we get back in the thick of things, we just do a quick check-in and everybody kind of give a heads up on what has been accomplished today. Because I'm not clear, we've got multiple things.
Well, my thought is that we have determined our format outline that we're going to go with, and that we are clearly we're moving towards getting our overall big picture kind of lined out so that we can start drilling down and getting some of the specifics.
And what did your group specifically do?
Our group specifically picked the one that was the one that we would be assessing most of the hierarchy thinking. So we looked at each one of the lines here and picked that one.
And did you start with fifth grade?
We kind of stopped at fifth. Elizabeth and I did third and fourth.
I think Kitty
joined in. Yeah, exactly. So
we kind of stopped and then we were going to see what you did.
we felt like we needed to kind of defer to what you guys were coming up with before we got into the specifics.
You guys need to save some time at the end to help Carrie with this report.
It's 99%. She's already got it now, so we just got it.
But they really probably need to see,
Right.
go over it. It's pretty straightforward.
They made a request both Desi through the school board through Desi made a request, and they had like 6 things that they wanted on the report to give to them. And we also got the request from Nina Dean, who is Speaker of the House. I think that's who we have to report to, the state level, and they had 11 things on theirs, so we just got to make sure that we cover both of them.
At least we have something good to report.
Hey, Eric, we have the communications from Nadine that came down the last couple of weeks. We have those on the Google Drive as well. Okay. So if you go to Google Docs.
So are you thinking our best bet would be to start with the grade levels and share how we broke it down and what we came up with as the big ideas for the chunks, and then you share with us what you guys thought was the most complex glee and the.
Just try to get your temple up and try to lead one in and get everybody to.
I think if we just kind of all work together as a group, because you guys know where you came from, and we know where we came from, and there were several of these lines. I don't know what you call them.
Yeah.
Stories or whatever. There were several that could be lumped together.
Right.
Either 2 or 3 items to make a big idea, or things that needed to be actually moved to another line. And it was kind of, I think that when we're finished, the product will be a lot clearer and a lot more concise.
So what I'm almost wondering is if we would be better off to take and work together on
developing the big idea.
Well, yeah, what I'm picturing is this document that is electronic and us working together to change it. So rather than trying to plug all this into the format that we've come up with, I don't think we're ready for that yet. I think we're ready to take this document and put the big idea in here that we want it to have, make sure that all of the ones in here are accurate, so use the most recent version of the glees that we've revised it to. The ones that need to be moved, move them to the different rows, and then bold or highlight the square of the ones that we're thinking about being our assessment ones.
I think that's good. I don't know if it's adding work or not, but I don't know how else to do it.
I don't either. Because I think we need to get this clarified before we decide what's going to go on each individual little template.
do that, it might be easier.
It'll
I
be
think,
totally
I think
easier
when
to
we
put it
do
into the
that,
template.
this is
It'll
gonna
just
be the
cut and
lion's share of the work.
This will.
That'll just be a matter
It'll
of
just be
putting
cut
it on
and
the
pasted.
format.
Does he have this electronically?
Mhm. Do
Oh, he
you?
has this?
Everybody has it, I emailed it all to you.
I just received
It's
mine.
up on
I
Google
didn't
Docs.
see that.
Oh, yeah, I thought I emailed it to you.
No, the first time I ever saw this was when.
Yeah, you handed it out.
But I wasn't here that Friday.
Okay. Well, I was having trouble with your email address because the last letter of your name was left off.
I'm beginning to think that they made where my original email doesn't work, so I probably thought maybe that there should be an in on it.
That's what threw it. When I added the in, it sent
That's
it
why I
to you.
said,
And I
that's
thought
why,
I resent it this to you using that one, but I may not have. Because I may not have figured it out.
Carrie, I sent you the notes yesterday, and I put the in.
Okay, I haven't.
If you don't put the
Yeah,
I
in,
tried to
it
bring that up
doesn't
earlier,
work.
I couldn't think of anything, but now. that would do it.
Without the in, it was not successful for me, so they have added
Well,
the
they
in.
changed it,
They have changed it.
but I was told that that wouldn't affect anything either, so, cause I've got that same email address for,
It affected it for me.
It did for me too, it
since
came
we had a
out,
computer, it's been the same email address.
It
Yeah.
kicked it back
So I need to
that
send
it
out
was
that.
undeliverable.
yeah, that's what it came back to me too.
And I sent with the in, and it showed sent.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
that's
what
what,
does everybody else think?
But the scope and sequence document, to be clear, it is in Google Docs, you can access it there, it's nice and big.
Now I'm about to modify.
Well, that's the question, we need to go ahead and do a modified version of this.
I think so too, and
That's the
change,
first thing we gotta do.
now, are we going to change these then to the
I think we changed
concepts?
them to what we.
And I apologize, I was
worked
out of
on.
the room.
Right,
so-
but I think we changed these to what this group worked on.
I
to come
agree
up
with that.
The topic that we wanted to be in that front column.
Good, and put
And there'll
these,
be some new ones too.
right, and when we
Yes.
move these around, we will make sure we have the current,
That's what we need to do, is take the revised glees and insert them into this, so that we know what it is.
and I apologize if I was requiring you to repeat all that.
He says, how you difficult to do.
No, I don't think it is.
I mean, I don't know what.
It's just gonna be a lot of jumping around in the documents to try to pull
Right.
them together, just to make sure we got the most recent.
Right, so like, if we tell Eric, if we say, open your revised version of the glees,
I think what you need to do is exactly what I did. Is there a form?
Yeah, so scope and sequence document there.
okay, then open the scope and sequence document. And then for fifth grade, so go to fifth grade tab. For, instead of work and simple machines, it should say forces affect motion.
Gotcha.
We're gonna change it.
I
Then-
don't think I have this in Google Docs, sorry to interrupt, but.
You mean the long form?
Did you refresh it on your screen, not to be a smart aleck, but just so that all the docs have reload?
Then on the revised version, 22A, it is the same, we didn't make any changes to that, so the first box is good.
So
So-
work in someone machine is what, forces in motion?
Forces
My question is, did we get the copies?
Forces of effect.
Effect.
I don't know,
Did they ever bring those copies over, of the revised GLEs? He sent a request to get those copies,
They're not gonna,
They're not gonna make them.
they're not gonna.
I'm still in negotiations, but
That's fine.
just accept.
Once we get this done, it won't be a,
yeah.
well,
Is there any place we can ever make one copy?
Like I said, I'm still in negotiations.
I mean, is there someplace in this building that we could go to make a copy?
Only place would be downstairs in MSBA.
send them to
Secretary
Bear's
there.
office. He said he'd do whatever he would do to help us. Send him to Bear's office and send him an email and see if he'll photocopy it.
I'll walk it over where
You I mean, say,
Well, I mean, we need it. We'd like to have it now. I mean, that's the.
he's got secretaries.
Nina, so she
Nina,
do anything we need to
right.
come in, then she walk it over.
They said that
But
we
we
would,
have it
they would
printed.
do what we can, we can to help us.
I mean, we can email it, you can email it.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, now,
Email
we
it
don't
up.
forget it.
Yeah, you can email Nina and ask her, that's the worst she'll do, say no.
That's what we're getting now, so what?
Do you have
The
the?
person that made it. She sent us that big long email. Oh. He got that big long
I mean,
email.
yeah, I've got,
Oh, you got it fast on point.
right, I've got it here, I just don't get it.
So when I look at my version, like I've scratched through what we've changed and stuff. And when I go to 22A, 22, capital A, 5th grade, little a, I show that we made no changes to that. So that means the first glee in forces affect motion is correct. So then I go to the next one, and this one we made changes on. And it is under 22B.
He's already doing something.
Oh. We already.
They're trying to
That was
choose
my
my
latest round of negotiations.
Excellent.
What's insane, I'm sorry, but that's insane. We're not asking her to make 500 copies of something.
Actually, yes, for, you know,
No, we're waiting for 8 copies of a document that's obviously needed for
nine
this.
copies of a 50-page document in her mind is close enough to 500 pages.
That is.
Well, I don't get
Good
that.
chunk. Okay, so I'm on box 2. I'm on box 2 under force, go horizontal.
To the right.
See, go up a box. There.
Describe how fresh it
That one we changed. So if you flip over to the revised GLE document, 2, capital D,
Put your capital D
was that it?
No, I think that's, yeah.
down. That's planted animals.
Nope, that's not right.
That's
Yours.
the way
Okay.
they are. That should be it.
Right.
Yeah, Newton's law.
Yeah. Newton's laws of motion. Go over to 5th grade,
Sharon Howell, that's the person.
and we said investigate
Yeah.
and explain.
She's above Maria.
That's the one that needs to go in that box, that second box.
Yeah, because she's a
Dr. Sharon Howell, Assistant Commissioner, Office of Knowledge and Career Readiness.
So those are going to be frustrating. I'm sorry, that's just,
I feel like when this is.
we're not asking for something that's arbitrary. We're asking for.
It does, I feel like that's.
This is so
Do this
weird.
job. What's that?
With Chris and Beverly thought it's just odd in here, that,
Yeah.
it's just odd. Please let us know if we can help you with any of the above. That's Sharon Howell. And she's
Call her.
fabulous. Call her.
Tell her, so we need.
Sharon, we need a couple copies, can
We
we
need
come up
9
and make
sets
those?
of the new GLE that we just, I'll call her.
Call Nina, it's Nina's baby.
Yeah.
Desi didn't make this.
He already emailed me and she said no.
Nina's baby?
Oh, no, he
no,
made
no,
up,
no.
Oh, yeah.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
Email Nina.
The problem with it is they didn't send any money.
No.
That's the problem.
Nina's the one that needs
And
to be
Nina
emailed.
works for the.
Okay, so you made that change? The next one is
All right, so
explain.
hold on, time out. So, are we gonna go through, so is the game plan to go through and update the entire scoping sequence document? right
We're
now?
gonna have to be able to know what we're doing.
Okay,
But what I was thinking was we could do, if we do a row at a time, we could talk about what we want assessed in that row each time.
Yeah.
Highlight that box, so we're accomplishing something other than just revision.
got it. Okay,
Well, we could do grouping at the same time too.
Right, we can fix the grouping as well.
Yes.
okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna flip back and forth in here, I'm just gonna leave this on scope and sequence so people can see the changes as they come online.
Okay,
So, just start rapid fire and be the.
okay, so explain how work we didn't change.
Okay,
The next one, identify the simple machines we didn't change. We didn't change the next one. And the last one is observe and explain that simple machines change, so we didn't change that.
okay.
So which document, I need it to be just a skosh big.
New.
Those eyes.
I cannot see very well.
Unfortunately.
That's why we wanted to do post-it notes on the wall.
Okay. Now you guys hit us with your best shot and tell us which one you thought should be assessed.
So that's observe, the last one, observe and explain the simple machines change the amount of effort, force in one direction. So I guess bold face, is that what you're saying? Won't face that last one.
either bold it or fill the cell with a
Or the
highlight
box.
or something, so we indicate which one we want.
Okay.
But that's open for discussion.
Totally, this is
Right,
a
it's
draft.
not, it's not a done deal.
This is a
Because
draft.
I was just saying, if anyone disagrees.
No, that's what we're doing, we're
Okay.
discussing it. Yeah, this is just a draft.
And the other thing I want to ask, just as a point of clarification, this would be the piece where we would, we would say the teacher would assess.
Right.
Would we provide some examples of what that assessment might look like?
No, but we would give them examples of what their instruction should look like.
Okay.
In that teacher
Our
activity.
hope and dream would be that whoever is responsible for creating said assessment would invite us for what we,
can create.
what our vision
It's
was
up to you.
for the
It's up to
standards.
us.
I don't know that that will come to,
I would think that might be somewhere,
Nope, I think we need to.
want to put that in there,
Okay,
okay?
is that a little bit
Yes,
more
I
flexible?
Yes, thank you so much. So they're saying highlight the last box, but I'm also asking if we should highlight the second box as well.
This,
yes, we had that
The
discussion.
problem was that we didn't, we got the old version, so I didn't.
Exactly.
So, because it was described, which is big, but yeah, investigate and explain.
So I
We
would
need
see
to
us
go with-
having two up top, having
Yeah, I see.
the one in box C and the one in box G.
Well, essentially,
both
what we're doing is that we have a group about friction, right, we have a group about simple, is this still simple machines?
Yes,
Forces affect motion.
that's our new name for it.
So working simple machines is the training.
so,
Yeah,
how about those
so,
boxes?
so we have one cluster on friction, one cluster on simple machines.
But do we want to change the last one or create a new one that is more performance, more of a performance standard? Because observe and explain is not a performance standard.
You could, there's a possibility you talk about this is a model. Is this a place for modeling? The other thought I had too was,
49 pages.
that this could be an engineering thing, design a simple machine to do a specific task.
That would decrease the amount of effort needed to
Well, it's
whatever.
not just decreasing effort, sometimes it's decreasing distance, right? So that simple
Right.
machines can do,
Well, but this is specifically about effort. We specifically address effort in the standards, right?
You see, but before here, the third one was about work, and it said there's force and distance.
Uh-huh.
Because work involves force and distance, sometimes your simple machine, decreases distance, and sometimes it decreases effort. So it depends on what kind of simple machine it is.
Okay.
Those more
Pulling your
complex.
projector really close to the.
So I think that the idea of saying, we want to solve some problem with simple machines, which have been done for the past 5,000 years, we've been doing that. Smoking sequence, that seems like a good engineering point.
So how do we want to word that? Because I would almost rather add a standard to the simple machine strand that says kind of what Bob's saying, where they have to design something to solve some kind of a problem
I like that.
at the
Because
end of that.
that's right,
So
that's
those
beyond
would
it.
all live
That's
up.
beyond that, because that one
Right.
there is good as it is, and it should.
That one needs to be there in order for them
That's
to be
right.
able to do the next one.
So, but do you assess on the two we have?
No, I would move the yellow box over
Or to the
one.
design, okay, that's what's where our, okay.
I would move the yellow box over
Well,
one.
the rest of you think as far as the various concerned.
Oh, I found, I did.
What did the rest of you think about that?
Did you say what you were gonna,
Essentially design, well, okay, something like design a solution,
This
using
could
simple
even be-
machines for a real problem.
that would be a performance of minimum assessment.
But do we want to be more, I'm concerned about leaving it that open-ended.
Yeah.
Because you
It'll-
can give
it'll
them
be
very
hard to assess.
open-ended, or you could give them a parameter. Like, I used to say, design a machine powered by wind that will raise paper clips 2 inches off the floor. And I didn't care what it looked like, but I've given them the parameters
Right, that's right.
in which they're gonna move. So do we want it, how structured do we want it?
I think you need to narrow it down
Yeah,
some for
that's right.
purposes of the assessment, because it would be so broad as a classroom teacher, I would think there's no way I can
You have to do it.
cover this efficiently.
That was possible.
So,
Issue.
design, or so something like, I don't know, just kind of thinking out loud. Design, maybe the problem's a lifting task.
That's where I'm at.
What? Good, go there, tell us what it
That's what I'm
says.
doing, I'm missing word.
Good,
For what?
we're gonna see how
What
NGSS works.
suggests in NGSS? Spinning his wheels. I'll start that.
Well, let's think about this. What parameters have we given in the underlying content that would be a foundation for them, or are there?
See, they haven't specified like what kind of simple machine, and depending on who you ask, there's either 3 or 6 of them.
Right,
Right.
yes.
Because it's 6, 3 of them male
There's 3 fundamental ones, and the other 3
Or
are
combinations.
derived.
from the person.
Right.
Well, that's good.
Could we say something like design a tool made of simple machines that would
Demonstrate.
Design the simple machine to make, well,
You don't want too open-ended,
Okay, do you-
design.
I don't want them to
simple
design
machine.
a simple machine, because the simple machines are already there.
Design-
I want them to
don't think
combine
design
simple
is-
Well, that is
machines.
not,
That's not simple, it's a compound.
that's a compound machine.
So what you wanna do is design a problem,
Design a or solve
and
a
a
problem.
solution to a problem.
That's right.
Ooh,
Problem.
So you wanna design
come up with a
a
solution, that's what we want.
I
to
like
come up
that.
with.
Good job, Terry.
So what is that, what do we
But
call
you
that?
parameterize the problem. That's what it
Develop
does.
a solution.
I mean, I'm trying to think, where would a 5th grader go with this, you
We're gonna
know?
go with a real
Design,
world problem.
that's what I'm saying, design a
Design
solution,
a
how to
solution.
move this stove up into your house that's 10 feet
Well,
on
you can just say
stilts.
design a problem to,
Oh, yeah, to lift something.
I agree.
to produce a mechanical advantage, and then that incorporates all your simple machines. You design a problem, or design and solve, I don't know how you wanna say it.
They don't deal with mechanical advantage until middle school.
Yeah, I would think so.
And
That's an energy
design is-
machines of motion.
Because that's a numeric thing, but I didn't
Right.
say numbers.
You get the
Softball.
quantitative stuff.
But then again, I don't think it's all false. Well, yeah, because it says no formula calculations.
Right.
Okay,
Use quantitative.
but still, they should know, that, you know, there's like different class levers, you know, that there are different simple machines have different kinds of tasks.
They are gonna know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I like that word design.
I know.
That is to,
Well, anytime you create something,
and that's in that language, design, that's the.
There's nothing about, simple machines.
Nothing.
You don't sort of use that language.
But there is no force of interaction.
What's it say?
It talks about cause and effect relationships and,
Yeah, there's no simple machine.
no, there is not.
GSS, it's interesting.
I think they would leave that to the middle level, because that's when you get into the mechanical
But
advantage.
GSS doesn't have a term.
Even at the middle level,
It doesn't exist.
Simple machine doesn't exist.
they all do it through energy then. They address it through energy and motion. Or work, yeah. Couldn't call Julie.
Well, work is.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because what we're really talking about is force. And the friction is a force. And the simple machines should decrease the amount of force needed.
Simple machine is more than force. It's work.
It's work.
It's about
I get
force
that.
and distance.
But we are dealing with force in
This
this
particular
training.
strand is a lot of force.
We're dealing with friction at the beginning of it, and then we're dealing with,
But a lot of them also say work. Yeah, they explain how work can be done on the house.
Simple machine. Work isn't really a force word.
It is.
I mean, just from,
And the fact
I
that
get it.
they talk about, and I see, they say force and simple machines, So.
I get that,
Yeah.
I get that it's not just about force, it's about force and distance, but at elementary, this is an introduction to work.
This is fifth grade though.
Doesn't matter, it's an introduction to work.
I just read, this is just, design a real world problem to address the idea of work over space, over distance. I think that would,
I'm gonna tell you that work is something that high schoolers struggle with, and I don't think we should go to mastery on work at fifth grade.
How about the design a machine, design a machine that, allows you to lift an object more easily.
again, you gotta wait for the word machine, you're not gonna design a machine, you gotta design a real world problem, you gotta design a.
Well, design a solution, design a solution.
What if
Lift an
Choosing
object.
the correct one.
What if you had to identify a real world problem and then describe
Can be solved by.
the simple machine that would help solve that? Yeah, we're saying the same thing, so now tell me how to word it.
Now suddenly, right, it's about identifying a problem.
Right, which is not,
In need of a solution.
that doesn't sound higher order, but I think it is for
think it
fifth
is.
grade.
Yeah, I think it's good to highlight, how do you say it first?
Identify, something like you, Judge.
So I'm writing it down.
Identify a problem that,
Or find a solution.
identify a problem that can be solved with a simple machine, and explain how the simple machine solves the problem. Maybe. Now you've got a symmetric sort of statement.
Oh, I got it. Explain how a simple machine can solve a real world problem. Is that it?
I think what we're saying is a little deeper than that. You're
Okay.
identifying the problem, right? So
I think we need to expound upon that.
Well, I mean, it's basically, so there's two parts. Identify the problem that can be solved with simple machines, and explain how a simple machine solves the problem.
Identify a simple machine needed to solve a real world problem, or a given problem.
This is out of New York, and this was just a guiding question for an integrated unit. How do simple machines impact our lives? Which is kind of where we're going. And then underneath it says simple machines impact force, effort, and work. That was up to it, right?
It's crazy, but it seems kind of squishy and very big.
Yes, I mean, it was just a guiding question, yes.
Might impact your life. I don't know, I like it what we just came up with. Identify a problem that can be solved with simple machines, and explain how the simple machine solves the problem.
I like that.
Now, is that too
Can
big?
you get ready, can you just say identify a simple machine needed to solve a real world problem?
Say that again?
So identify a simple machine or the simple machine needed to solve a real world problem.
Okay.
But that doesn't
Identify
include the
and
second part.
Explain has to be in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
The how has to be
Explain.
in there.
Because you just identified it, you didn't explain it.
Right, so you
Well,
can
how
very
about-
easily
what
put
if
that.
you-
Yeah,
Identify
right, yeah,
and
that's
explain
easy.
why
Identify
a
and
simple
explain
machine can be
a-
used to solve a real world problem.
Exactly.
Identify and
If they
explain
explain it, they
why
have to identify.
Identify and
Exactly.
explain why.
a simple machine can be
Because now
used.
that sounds like, we just want me to explain the simple machine. If you could explain
You're
why.
right. We want it to be more specific.
And I'm thinking from the teacher's point of view.
Sure, how would you,
I would say
Put why.
explain why.
explain why?
Just adding that
Identify
word.
and explain why.
Yeah, because if you're identifying, then
Yeah,
rather
well, you
than
realize
how.
that means you're gonna have to start getting into the account of advantage.
Rather
Explain
than
how,
how.
why.
I would say I would.
How, identify and explain
So you
how.
say,
Or why.
and you go why, and then you're gonna have to explain that it's pulley, there's two different types of pulleys, and one gives you mechanical, you run the rope through it one way, and it gives you mechanical advantage. Run through the other way, it gives
Well,
you no mechanical advantage, it changes direction.
I think not. I think if you look at one of these, it says like, explain how work can be done on an object, and it says force applied and distance moved, right? So then they realize that there's a trade-off, both of them. Now, when they say, I gotta lift this big heavy, I gotta lift this piano up on this 4-foot ledge, well, I can do it with an inclined plane. Now you gotta explain why. You're decreasing the force by
Explain
increasing
why or
the
explain
distance.
how.
This is what I'm just saying.
Okay.
You're decreasing the force by increasing the distance. That would be a good solution that doesn't involve anything about mechanical advantage, it doesn't involve calculation. And it's
For
just
that
like
one
this.
simple machine,
Say again?
for that one simple
Yeah,
machine.
sure.
But then if you pick a different simple machine.
Well, I mean, okay, so like,
You
so
know, I go, I'm gonna go right back to pulleys.
okay, let's use,
Yeah.
let's use a block and tackle.
Right.
Where multiple pulleys increase the length of rope I have to pull, but decrease the force. So again, it's a trade-off between force and distance. Qualitative, no calculation, nothing about mechanical advantage. I know that a 5-pulley system is more mechanical advantage than a 2-pulley
But
system,
this,
but.
these concepts sound middle school to me.
I know we do it, I know that when we had some machines, I did it in 3rd grade, but that's not saying that everybody doesn't do
And,
it.
and
I know
now
it.
kids could say that the reason of inclined plane work was because you were increasing the distance.
We just should have said in third grade only what they were, there's a fulcrum.
Exactly.
there was-
What
No,
number
it's
of the
not,
machine was.
that you're decreasing the
That was
force
identification.
because you're increasing the distance. We
No,
did
that's
not
exactly
go
what
there.
it
We had a, there was a teeter-totter.
Did you?
Yeah.
I know we did, because we talked about it.
No.
It wasn't high school.
We didn't.
Well, during instruction we did, the assessment was a simple
Exactly.
identification.
And I'm not gonna agree with you that instruction did do that.
Well, not
Because
everyone.
I've seen a lot of instruction that was, here's a lever and this is.
Right.
They
I'm
did
saying the
not
assessment
say.
intent though was to identify.
Right,
It was very basic.
it was
It
not
very
complex.
basic.
So
But that was third.
is that middle, or is that
That's what I'm-
elementary?
That's what I'm thinking 5th graders could probably do it, that's what I'm saying.
I agree with
we
Peter.
have no problem doing it. Because, I mean, we went so
But
far
it
as
was
to
worded correctly.
getting the, like I said, and I've talked to you before about the pennies, and you would stack, 5 pennies on the end, and you go fulcrum point forward, you stack 10 pennies or 7 pennies, as long as they're all the same year, and have a balance.
Why?
And you explain it to the kids that it's the distance from the fulcrum point. And
So
3rd graders were
changing
able
the
to get that.
distance from the fulcrum point does what?
It gives you a mechanical advantage if you got,
Why?
But you didn't calculate it. We didn't calculate it.
Why or how?
How and why?
again, it's.
Still not gonna
over-
look- what are they
it's
words
the
going
work-
in
the
there?
force over distance. It's the distance from the
K-5.
fulcrum point to
Because
the,
you're asking a 5th grader to conceptually explain a
Well, that's what I'm saying.
mathematical equation, and I don't know that a
What you
5th
said
grader
is
is
right,
ready.
right? If you have a 12-inch ruler, and you put it, and you say, okay, you can put the fulcrum anywhere you want, but you're gonna put 7 pennies on one side and 5 on the other, well, it's gotta go to the 7 inches, right? It's gotta be 7 inches toward the 5, and 5 inches toward the 7. And then they can see right away, 5, 7, 5, 7.
And can they tell you why?
It's 5, 7, 5, 7.
No, that's not
No,
why.
that's not why. That's what, they can tell you in
It
layman's
is-
terms
it is
what happened, but
They
they're
can
not
say, when
gonna
I
get
use this
into.
little triangle closer to this
It is
end,
why, because
then-
5 times 7 is a product of force times distance.
There's actually a
Or-
formula.
you're
for it.
still mathematically doing it. You are not conceptually explaining it to
That's
me.
right.
So neither one of you have conceptually explained this to me yet, and you want a 5th grader to do it?
Well, are you asking, I didn't know you were asking.
Conceptually explain it to me, because that's what you're asking a 5th grader to do, and I have yet to hear it.
As force increases, distance decreases. As distance increases, force decreases. There's a trade-off between the two.
And so you are, that's mathematically.
Did I give you an equation?
No, that's
You,
it.
force times distance is the equation, and all you're doing is manipulating those 2 variables.
That's it.
I don't know that that's
And it
conceptual.
says right here, no formula calculations at this level.
Right.
But as force increases, distance decreases.
And what distance would that be?
Well, it
The
depends
distance
on-
from the ground?
Like I said.
The distance
ramp
across
example,
the,
Take the ramp
Distance
example,
from-
if you have a steeper ramp, you wanna try to get up to this point here, right? You've got, now your force is, you still have to lift the same amount of force, but now you can spread it over a longer distance.
now you just conceptually told me what it was. Say what you just said
You just said
again.
that like 10 minutes
No,
ago.
it's in-
I didn't
Exactly
hear it,
again.
sorry. Will
That's
you
how we
say it
started the whole
again?
conversation.
Will you
So,
say it
Yeah,
again?
like you say, so, the task involved in what we're talking about is to do a task that involves, getting a force, applying a force and moving it through a distance. So if I'm gonna lift the thing, that's sort of a great example. I wanna lift the piano up on top of a shelf or something, right? So if I can make a ramp to do it, then I can say, instead of lifting it this far, which takes a lot of effort, I can lift it what turns out to be a long distance, but now the force is very.
But you're still lifting at the same distance.
But you don't, see, now you're pushing instead of lifting.
I agree, but you are still raising it the same amount, the same distance.
So you're not,
No.
This distance, look, so the
It's
idea.
If I were to measure the height of the piano above sea level before I started,
You're not the height of the piano.
No.
It's this high, and you say, give me a ruler, and I find out this is 8 inches high.
and is that
Now
not a
I go like
distance?
this,
It
and
is.
say, now.
You gotta measure from the
it's
beginning
19
to the
inches.
It is 8 inches not a distance?
Of course it is.
And it's 19 inches.
Right, but the kid is gonna have to distinguish between those two distances.
That's right.
That is a big concept that you're asking fifth graders to verbally tell you.
I don't think so.
Okay, well,
That's
what do the
personal
rest of you
experience.
think? Cause we're not the only two people in here.
Sure.
So Bob thinks it's a go, Perry thinks they can
Okay,
do
wait,
it,
now
what
what
does
is-
everybody else think?
Are you trying to identify an assessment that will fit into that?
Or whether to do it.
Or whether it's too complex for kids to do. Maybe we should stick with the observe and explain and do something with that.
I think they studied that in there.
I think the point is that,
I don't think we're increasing the rigor exponentially. I don't think it's a gargantuan leap from what's already there.
But I think
Observe and
also,
explain simple machines, that simple machines change the amount of the amount of effort force and the direction of force.
That's not distance.
That doesn't cover distance, so I think it's incomplete.
but also, when you look at this
I really
entire
think, if you're
document,
talking simple machines, that's incomplete.
work in simple machines is not introduced till fifth grade. That's where the
This
problem
is the
is.
beginning.
This is
of
the beginning, and I think what we're having them do without any background knowledge in K-4 is too much. That's my personal opinion.
Second
Does
grade,
it right now?
no, second grade talks about force and motion.
Simple machines, force and motion?
Not simple machines,
Yeah.
but force and
Not
motion.
simple machines.
They talk about force and motion, but not simple machines, if I'm not mistaken.
I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Well, it talks about
We're
planes.
talking about levers.
Yeah,
Right,
I
yeah.
stand corrected.
isn't this too complex?
Oh, yeah, you find flames, ramps.
Are you just trying to ask them how they might use a simple machine in everyday life for a basic understanding of how simple machines help?
I mean, I can see this assessment being like just what you said. Given this picture, and this is what they need to accomplish, which simple machine,
Which
that's
would,
very low level.
which would be an assessment of this one that we have highlighted right now.
Right.
Yeah, such an assessment is choose a simple machine.
C or G.
Add in
We
the
necessarily want to-
Yeah, we talking about C or G.
Explain.
I'm talking
Except it's
about,
live.
Highlighted there.
Did we find
oh, the
it?
second one, we're on the
Okay.
second.
Split out.
I don't know,
Did you
did
say you
Julie
found
find it in NGSS?
Simple machines
I
is
did
not
not
in
show
K-5.
in GSS, but I
Everything
look on the
mechanical,
internet,
everything
it's
engineering
all
comes
over,
from
all
simple
of the
machines,
states
so.
have assessment questions in fourth grade and fifth grade that are simple as how to use simple machines in everyday life.
That's what I found.
Simple machines in everyday life.
That's what I found at New York, it was very,
And there's no reason we can't
I won't
leave it
leave
the
it
way
like
it
this.
is and not go more advanced. I mean, we can
Because
decide.
earlier, you're gonna be identifying simple machines and common tools and household items. So, what you're saying here, if you wanna,
Yeah.
the question that you just said is basically answering that one,
Yeah,
which is earlier in the,
that's right.
Like a basic third grade thing would be, what is this machine? And then the fifth grade would be, how would you use this?
And why would you choose
Your
this
own
machine
lever
over the
bar.
other one?
yeah, why are you using, pulley instead of a lever?
Right.
Yes,
Something like that.
or again, identifying, well, this wheelbarrow will help move this stuff more, as a being in every, an item that
I
we
would,
use.
I would think on necessity, developmentally, the fifth grader wouldn't even need pictures or anything. Just talk about it, how we use simple machines in everyday life. You could use, we go back to a third grade assessment, and you have a picture.
Right.
We used to use.
That used to be on there,
It is,
or I observed it before.
yes, there were pictures. Yes, there were. But it was with the fulcrum and. It was.
Exactly like you said.
Yeah.
And if the fulcrum was here, or if it was here, which
Mhm.
would lift it, that's basically what it was.
And that's an easy concept when you have two toddlers on your plate.
Right.
So then we have to get ready.
We actually do on our K1.
And I got to know.
I got there, yes, slide, and we have a dinosaur.
Are we ready for number 2?
Yeah.
Number,
So the next one is gonna
So
be,
what's the final, like?
yeah, that's it.
Well, we're not gonna take those out. Take the last two.
Oh, we delete those 2.
So we're
So
not
we do
changing
not want to,
I don't know. What is our final? I thought our final decision was we were gonna assess the 2 yellow boxes that are.
That's right.
My vote is the yellow boxes.
But I heard these two are just my notes. I heard you all debating.
But we were gonna assess G with H.
well, that's what we had talked about, but that's not what's in your comment, so.
That's right.
That's right.
So do I just delete these and not do anything to this?
So I think that's what she
I thought that was
said.
the conclusion we came to, but
That's
I.
what let's-
Are you saying that that is the standard or that's the test question?
that's the assessment question.
That would-
Then that's not what, but we don't put the assessment questions in here. That would
Right.
just be
Right, I think we just ended up with.
that's just, yeah. So we want the standard in here.
And we're agreeing that those are the 2 yellow ones.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Well, actually, I thought we were
Crazy assessment.
creating a new assessment or a new standard that would lend itself to incorporating everything that's already in front. I thought this is what we started out doing.
That's what I thought.
That's what we started out doing, but then we decided that we thought, some of us thought it was too complex to go above what the yellow box is, letter G. That is our final standard for this concept at this grade level.
So my question, is that too difficult?
I don't think the one we created is too complex.
I'm asking, is H the assessment question or is it a standard?
It's currently a standard.
Oh, yeah.
And how is it different than G? Is my question. How is it different than this?
No.
So are you saying,
That's not a real world problem.
because my worry is that if we don't write the assessment,
We don't get it right this assessment.
right, so what I'm saying though is if we word them correctly,
Right,
it will be assessed some,
right.
some way.
But I thought that's what
That's
we
what I
were doing with
thought.
H. We were creating
So
an
H is gonna
assessable question.
replace G?
No, G's gonna stay there. We just move that yellow box to H.
And how is, I'm trying to figure out how H is
And
different.
read it, and I think they're a little apart. I mean, it's when to observe simple machines change the amount of force
That
and
simple
energy.
machines.
Direction of force. That's a part.
Identify and explain how a simple machine can be used to solve a real world problem.
One is more specific, because directional change is
But
not
we're not
work on
adding
the distance or the other.
distance into.
But we gotta share, we got 3 copies.
And you have to go over the blade that covers using a magnifying glass.
Yes. These are printed.
We got what we asked for, don't we?
Hey, yes,
Thank-
we're very appreciative.
Thank you.
That's right.
We're gonna talk about that landscape. portion.
Okay, so,
She didn't ever tell Erin that photocopying is not one of the things that keeps her employed. That photocopying skills is not what keeps her employed. I did hear her say that.
I mean, some of it's not about-
So clearly she was correct.
Okay, so bottom line, H and I are what?
She works
If
for.
we leave G as there, if we leave G there, is some other assessment that come in and use some type of physics analogy with a mathematical complex assessment for these kids, that we leave G there for first emotions.
to me, an assessment for explain that simple machines change the amount of effort force, to me, I would ask them to come up with an example in real life where a simple machine has changed the amount of force needed to do something, to solve a problem. I know,
And
we don't get to write the assessment.
I know that's what I'm saying.
So-
F says, F is total lead in here. Right? It says now they're gonna actually measure forces.
Okay, so let's just again, John.
That's what I'm thinking, because that's what I would come up with if I were designing an assessment for G. But if you don't feel comfortable I mean, I don't wanna add a bunch of standards.
No, I don't either.
If we don't need to, and honestly, if I were designing an assessment question to explain that simple machines change the amount of effort of force, it would be to come up with a real world problem that you can solve with a simple machine and explain how it decreases the amount of force needed.
To me, H and I are the things that would go under teaching suggestions.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay, so take those out, I agree.
Good,
I think that's fine.
I think that's it.
all right.
I was
you ready to move?
And again, my only concern is that G does not cover distance.
I don't think it should.
If you're gonna understand simple machines, you have to incorporate distance.
No.
Because
Obviously
that's what
we
all
don't.
simple machines do. All simple
We've
machines.
been doing it for 20 years without having this in there.
I told you.
What he's saying is right.
I mean, it's 100%. You cannot explain simple machines without explaining distance.
I
It's
did not
there.
say that you couldn't explain it without explaining distance. I said I don't want it in the standard.
Well,
You don't want
that's
to
a
test
law.
them.
I don't want to test it.
She doesn't want to test them.
I don't
But it's
want
not-
it in
Right,
the
and I
standard.
think,
Testable.
again, that what Perry's saying would be added under the teaching ideas.
No,
No,
you know,
it-
what Perry's saying is physics, and he's right.
Right, and that's where,
It has to be, we have to have it somewhere here because it's nowhere in here.
but my worry is that.
It is in there.
If you're gonna truly understand simple machines,
Yeah. somebody
It's
was
in
throwing
there,
formula
D.
in for kids.
It's in there in D, right? Now,
you don't have to throw a formula in to do this.
that's what I'm saying,
But
he already
when
said.
Is it, but it's kind of like background knowledge.
Is, does D imply distance?
Yes.
It says this.
It says it.
No, it
Okay.
doesn't.
Yes, D does.
Okay, under D, okay, got it. I was an
And it
ass.
just
Oh,
says,
yeah.
it just says
But it
you don't,
says
you don't
no
have to use a formula.
formula.
But if you can say, but.
So why do I have to put it in G
How old are they
if
when
it's
they
already in
understand
D?
trade-off? How old is a kid when he understands what a trade-off is?
Why do
That's all
I
this
put
is.
it in
It's a
G
trade-off
if
between
it's
forces.
already in D?
Okay, can you do me a favor, Eric, we just remove H and I, they weren't there before, right?
That's right.
No, they were not there.
Just clear those out and let's move on, I think we're all.
Yeah, I think it's about the relationship, it's not about the formula.
I also already some math person.
It's a relationship between force and distance.
Mark it purple so we can come back and think about it again. I would like to process it a little bit.
Me too.
But we do have distance in there.
I'm a much better thinker after I thought on it
It should be
subconsciously
in
for
there.
a few days
Should be the assessment.
or weeks.
Yeah, but we're not putting the assessments in there, right?
Just
No.
in the yellow box, I think Perry's saying in the yellow box, ought to be the word distance.
You just have to incorporate, if you're
I'm
gonna.
gonna turn it purple because we haven't decided yet.
Yeah, let's just come back to that.
Put distance in there in parentheses or something. You can mark distance in there, but we need to come back and think about it again.
Everybody read on civil machines.
Yeah, right.
You're all gonna come back and go,
It's fundamental.
I got things again.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure
I
I'm
know,
wrong,
because
so
it's
that's
like-
I will, because I know you.
Really?
I have faith in you. At a
Well,
deeper
I-
level.
Having a physicist in the room agreeing with you.
But that doesn't hurt. I got Sheldon on my side.
All right,
I'm
classification.
married.
Not a
question.
physics. Not a physics problem. It's a simple machine.
I deal with Sheldon every day, Perry. I'm a nuclear medical technologist.
I put it in the comments.
Okay.
Okay, so are we on class?
Moving on.
Okay, so it's not called classification.
Doesn't say what
You got a
is
new-
it
you got a
called?
new name.
I don't know what we wanna call it, but here's the big idea that is
Okay.
listed in our thing. There is fundamental unit underlying, what does it sound like?
Fundamental
I'm
unity,
gonna say you missed something.
Unity.
unity.
There is fundamental unity underlying the diversity of all living organisms.
So now we're gonna write that.
That's what I don't know. Now,
Fundamental unity.
evidence of common ancestry and diversity is how next gen labels it.
Say that again.
It is called, there is a fundamental unity underlying the diversity of all living organisms.
That's interesting.
And we could write it that way now and then come up with a better name
And
later.
what's wrong with classification of concepts?
Because classification is a very, very, very small component of that concept. Classification is like how is it's just not even, it's the tip of the iceberg for what is there.
And what, how does next gen put it?
Next gen puts it evidence of common ancestry and diversity.
Now read the thing that you did before.
There is fundamental unity underlying the diversity of all living organisms.
Yeah, that's the big
Okay, but
one.
if
That was me when we did
just fundamental unity of organisms.
That's fine.
I like
I like that.
Mhm, that's fine.
Say it again.
Fundamental unity of organisms. Or fundamental unity among organisms.
I was,
I'm just trying to.
Let's just leave it at that, sleep on it, we can always tweak.
to me, organisms would be living.
What's going on, Eric?
I mean, you know, it's kind of a vibe.
Unified.
Right.
Oh,
One more.
fundamental unification, I said fundamental unity,
But I like that better.
and then I said among, I think I like among better than of. Because it's fundamental unity among organisms.
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 I like that.
Okay.
Joy to the world.
Alright,
Alright, keep moving.
now what we identified is,
I'm trying to.
I know you are, and that's why I kind of.
Yeah.
You guys did.
Alright,
what we identified was the first and the last. They're both comparing structures and essentially seeing the analogies between or among different organisms. They really are kind of about the same. So one just says structures, and the other says organs and organ systems.
Reason a structure, oh, they're implying that structures, no, they have gills and lungs in there.
Yeah.
alright,
So do you think we can just say,
so
oh, we'll do that later.
which one is being highlighted?
I think both of them.
First and last?
Essentially,
We start first and last.
we basically put them together.
So you're, and I'm just gonna cover this, then these two would be like at the top. Square.
Yes.
Okay, that's-
Okay, and everything under it would build up.
Would be on the.
Alright, any other modifications?
That sounds good, let's move on.
Any other
Wait, we didn't
modifications?
check to make sure if they changed.
That's what I'm asking, is there any other changes?
We have to look in the
I thought we
amended
did change
document.
them, but.
Oh, yeah,
We
okay, we
have to
did that.
look, we have to look at 31D. Fifth grade, we didn't change the first one. We did change the second one. Explain how similarities just add and differences. So we're in the box C.
Box C and differences.
Box
Similarities and
C.
differences.
Oh, he's making.
3-1.
E now. It was D. See, this one was D. And then I add,
Everybody's slow for you?
Yes,
Is it because multiple people are on the same document?
okay.
I don't know what this.
I have an arrow for B. Did we change B?
I'm still.
You're right, right. B.
Distinguish between parts.
Plants. Plants. Oh, we did change those. Plants, in plants, we put autotroph after plants, in parentheses.
No, you might as well.
Just
You
copy
can
it.
grab that, just grab it.
It's 3-1E, fifth grade, B.
Boy, I hope you use
But you weren't gonna test auto.
We're not
No,
testing
not
them,
testing.
but we put it in parentheses.
Right.
Then classify animals, we didn't change, and we put compare and contrast on the last one. Otherwise, it's good.
I've got distinguish between plants, autotroph.
Yeah, that's it.
And animals.
So the yellow ones are compare and contrast, right?
The yellow one should be compare and contrast. I didn't catch that first one, thank you, Bob.
Also on our document.
And I'm replacing what with that? Compare?
You're replacing, cell D,
D.
2D.
We have a spelling here on our. It's not that I'm great at, I think it's what I identify.
Is she happy, Carrie?
We said identify. Identify.
Where?
That's my TV.
I have three thirds there, exactly how they would get you.
Wow, that was priceless. That needs to be like a Foxword word. Identify such a T.
That's it.
I love it. So then in box 2B, we need compare and contrast.
It's there.
Yep, we got it. Those are the two we need, and the rest is good to go on that one.
So the two testable are A and H, I mean B and H.
Yes.
B and H, yes.
All right, are we done with, fundamental unity among organisms?
Yes.
All right, folks, water cycle, what?
Now, this one is split into 2 rows. So you need to add a row after this. And columns B through F are gonna be on 1 row. And G through the rest is gonna be in the next row.
B through F is one, and G and everybody else.
Yep.
No order change.
No,
Order changes, move that in.
just cut the row.
All right, so what's the other part?
The first part is this is what it says. Changes in property and states of matter provide evidence of the atomic theory of matter.
So instead of water cycle and weather, we're coming up with a new title.
Yep, and then NGSS calls it structure and properties of matter. We call it changes in properties and states of matter provide evidence of the atomic theory of matter.
And you wanna leave it that way.
How about changes in matter provide evidence of the atomic theory?
That is a little more concise.
It is.
And which one is that one?
That's the first half.
Thank you.
No, it's not. Oh, well, it's, yeah. We split that in half.
Okay, so you're saying changes in matter provide evidence of atomic,
Theory,
of the atomic theory?
if we wanna call it that.
That's, I think we need to stick somewhere.
Or we could call it structures and properties of matter, that's what NGSS calls it.
That atomic theory would throw some people
It's gonna
off.
break
That's,
some people
I'm
out.
thinking that's elementary, that's not elementary, friend.
I
That's
personally
too high.
like structure and properties of matter.
I do too.
We need to,
That's what I like.
This is, you come up with something.
Well, this is.
This first half, yeah, this first
Water
part.
cycle.
Theory in there.
No, this, don't do that, because we split it, this is not water cycle.
Are there, okay, so we've got
This is
structure
states
and
of
properties
matter.
of matter. Are there any edits made to B through F?
I gotta check, I'm checking.
Well, just as sort of a possible counterpoint, our group, we kind of found 3 in that row. And then the labels I gave were, one of them was about, like, weather and energy.
That's where I'm looking more towards something like that.
Yeah.
Because if you remove the word water cycle and weather, that whole thing is water cycle and weather. I know it's matter.
Well, it's
Wait.
changes of freezing, melting,
But it's
conditions,
physical
right?
properties,
Right, and then,
But
that's
it's,
not weather.
but it relates to what they talk
Well,
about.
That's why
water
it's
cycle.
put in water and weather as a thematic unit, but as a concept, it's talking about physical properties and how thermal energy affects physical properties. The rest is talking about water cycle.
I was.
I totally understand why they clumped it together into a scope and sequence, because you would teach it, you could easily teach it together through the water cycle. But if we're teasing out conceptual, the
So-
first half is about physical properties, it's not about weather.
Right, and I agree with that, I agree with that.
it's gonna be, as long as we're together like this,
So,
people are gonna have a problem.
because there were some that were about the water cycle.
Do we want F to be up here on the top of them, or do we want F down with the ones down below?
I wondered that too.
What's that?
F should be moved down, right?
F is in a weird spot,
Yeah,
because it's
that's-
1, 2, C, and I think it could go either way.
I was gonna say, yeah, as far as weather's concerned.
I would agree, I think it should go with water cycle. Can you do that, Eric? I screwed up.
Yeah.
Can you make F go
Yep.
down and
You
try
go
to
first,
classify
be the
things
very
by
first.
it?
I'm gonna put in the notes here to see the Google Doc.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with it, and it's,
No problem.
okay.
Okay, so we're moving this one in with weather.
So we're putting
F through the rest into something else.
Into water, so,
In
yeah.
water,
Into
into the
a
weather
new
pipe.
chunk.
Okay.
Named weather.
Yeah.
You haven't named it yet, or?
Yeah. Now, Eric, on 3B, we did change the wording on that one, so we need to go grab it. So it'd be 11C5 little a. He does.
So what did you say it's gonna be?
It's 11C5 little a. So you need a copy.
Okay, see, I'm not here. I had no idea what you were saying either. I was
You
like,
know
oh.
the sheet.
Okay, now I see what
He can go grab it and copy it
Oh,
and paste
okay.
it in from the revised
Yes,
document.
let's-
I told him where to go.
Well, I would somehow feel that is exactly what you're used to.
All right, so what was it? It was 1-1,
One, big C,
whoa, what did you say?
one capital C, fifth, little lowercase a.
All right, identify water as a solvent dissolves materials.
But yeah, develop. Did you get develop a model showing how changes in state?
No, that is not on the,
Oh, it should be.
so I've got,
It's right here.
5th grade, lowercase a is identify water as a solvent that dissolves materials.
You have
We got
what?
11C.
That's the one, I thought we had a big discussion.
This is the only 11C we have, describe how changes the state.
Yeah, and we changed it to develop a model showing how changes in state. Did we decide not to do that?
No, we did, maybe we just didn't get to change.
Are you in strand one?
You know why?
Big idea.
Did you know where she
No.
told you?
Now, the deal is this is one that you hadn't got off the notes from her originally. This
So
one
was it-
really-
It's develop a model showing how changes.
It's just one again.
What you can just take it there too.
That's it.
How changes what?
It's not showing up.
I'm not working on this document. I'm just
Develop a
working on
model
this document.
showing how changes in state and the rest is the same.
So you can just take that.
How changes in state what?
The rest is the same.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he doesn't have the rest.
Yeah.
Fill it out.
That's what said, just take that.
You know, we are so much more productive in the morning. We really
It's
are.
always like that after lunch.
Yeah.
In
Our classroom's the same
Our class,
way.
exactly what I was thinking. That's what we need to do more.
That's the reason I always said that you just
Uh,
cram everything
yeah.
together for lunch.
And you read.
We don't have that.
Condensation
We do, I think that, we do our, it's like that our individual teachers, we have time set aside for the first semester. Our experience has been, after that, most of them don't need it, but if they do, some sleep and the others read.
So, you know,
I mean, it's a kind of a drop-in reading, they do partner reading. And it's a kind of a quiet chill down time, and then you might still have one or two snores, but
B.
at the beginning of the year though, they all need it.
We just tickle me somewhat.
I'm just blunt. I'm telling you, yes.
So want to take one right now?
No. You're too busy checking for syntax errors.
My favorite little nap story, this happened years ago, we had, you know, the old nap mats you still buy and stuff. And this little boy had been picking a hole in his and had taken out the stuffing, stuffed it up on the nostril. And he came to the teacher, he said, Miss, I wait. They had to take him to the doctor, he could lie. Miss, I said, wait. Well, sure enough, you can. What did you learn from your laboratory play today? Oh my.
All right, so now we're back up to speed.
Okay, so the next one's not changed. The next one is predict the effect of changing. You got to change the word changing.
I'm changing thermal energy.
And then in parentheses, it should say change in temperature after thermal energy.
Yeah. Any other modifications?
Nope. You're good. Okay, so let me check the next one. Investigate and explain the mass of water remains constant. Investigate and explain.
I believe they decided.
What are those guys doing over there?
All right, so that finishes that out. So we still do not, that means for the next row, we are titled.
I know, but they haven't told us assessment standard for that one.
What they chose is.
Well, now that we have it rearranged.
No, really. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 now in that first group.
Right, that's
So
fine.
which one did you guys want to then?
Did you have one in the first one?
Our whole goal was to get them pre-grouped before we decided what was the most. Because we couldn't really decide when we didn't know what our
We
parameters
thought
were.
once they were regrouped and things were put
Yeah.
in different places, that it might make a difference.
So the question is, as a group, do we want to decide that now, or do we want to keep
No,
going
no,
through?
let's
decide it now.
do it now.
Let's decide it
Yeah,
now.
let's just do it.
Whoa, okay, cause what, okay, cause I thought that third one was the one for what I was calling weather and energy.
Predict the
Predict the effect of changing thermal energy, right?
So that's the one you think should be assessed? Will you go
Well,
up one
now,
now?
but now my groupings aren't necessarily the same as these.
No, but I think it's still accurate. If you put those 4 in group, I think that's it.
I agree, that's still accurate.
I
So the
agree.
third one.
I agree.
Yeah.
And highlight energy.
All right, so where we at?
D.
Highlight the third one over yellow. Make it
On,
yellow.
oh wait, wait,
Upper right, yeah, good call.
Gotcha.
Good call.
Perfect. And then we need to look at the next one, I'm sorry.
That's all right, no, that's good.
But he's named.
Yeah, here's the name that this isn't the name, but it's.
No, we're on board.
So 3D, not 3E.
Exactly.
And did we agree that that's structures and properties of matter then?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, and then the other one we talked about,
We haven't done it yet.
okay,
We
gotcha.
talked about,
But will you go up one column?
Yeah.
I mean, go up one row? Investigate and explain the mass. Okay, that's fine. I'm good.
okay, so now row 4.
I guess my question is, should that last one also be assessed one, or do you think it's all in the predict one?
Oh, that's like conservation.
In order to predict, you already have to invest.
But is it the same? Is it the same concept that we're doing?
I think if you can do D, you can do E.
Okay,
I think,
That's exactly
Well,
what I'm saying.
then let's do it.
In
I'm
order,
good.
you've already done your
Yep,
investigation.
then I'm good.
what did you say?
Then why is E there?
I see.
Well, that'll be
It
one
needs
of
to be
the
done prior.
Well, yeah, it almost should be first, like I think you
Right.
should put D and D around. Just
Right.
because it's like, here's what you.
Because you're investigating first to learn,
Investigating.
then you would do your
Right.
prediction on whatever.
That's right.
So should we move those around?
Yeah. It's fine too.
You're switching D and E.
But here's the wait, I mean, our,
It really doesn't
these gonna
matter.
become that top,
It is.
like,
Yeah.
and all the rest of them are gonna become.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point, because this is the final document.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
So,
You might wanna come back and switch those two.
We
No.
will.
We'll only put it in the
Because
final
these probably become
format.
the top.
Here's the deal, if we have this document, it's gonna be a nice document in conjunction with
Right,
our other pages. So eventually we may want to flip it, so that it's at the end and all
Right.
that.
Or have
But we
them
don't
in
have to
first
do it
of the
right
row.
Exactly, however we decide
Right.
to
Oh, you mean
arrange
this,
it.
this is right.
Might be as good as a separate, just for teachers to
Someone
understand
else's
the big
means
picture
of-
of what's going on.
That next row down, there's no reason I would think why we just go down to row 4. No reason why we can't just call it the water cycle.
I was thinking.
Well, here's what the big ideas are. Earth systems interact with one another as they undergo change by common processes, or earth materials and systems. The reason I don't want to call it the water cycle is it's bigger than the water cycle.
that's where.
So-
I-
so
yeah,
I-
I think
It's the water cycle for this grade level,
So
but
I
really,
suggested the model of matter flow through, well, we could say matter flow through earth systems.
Say that again from next gen.
earth, materials, and systems.
I like that. I like that. It's,
It would make our people read that and understand what's
No. And that's where I would intuitively put it.
That's what I would want to see.
Yeah, I would intuitively.
Is that what you did?
Materials, S on the material,
And no comma,
right.
earth materials.
And really it should be apostrophe S probably, right? Or no?
No.
No.
Because you're talking about more than one material, right?
Right.
Material.
But don't those
And
belong to
one
earth?
system.
And
Is there a possessiveness?
One
Or are you
system.
saying the earth's?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were bringing a apostrophe S.
Oh,
It's
I
not
thought-
in there. One.
No, it's not listed that way in
No.
the
It's just saying earth material.
This is
Yeah,
right.
I
Okay, so earth, materials, and systems.
Right.
And would it hurt, I'm
Um,
gonna
Is
go,
that
I'm
what
gonna
we're
go with,
thinking?
Ms.
That would
Joanne.
include soils.
Would it
and
hurt to put
Would
water
it-
cycle
in
to underneath that?
parentheses, would it?
Would it hurt anything?
Yes.
materials and systems of planet Earth.
See, then it doesn't, I mean, if you just put the
Well,
parentheses
I
down
think what
below,
you're saying is later
doesn't
it's gonna
hurt
become
anything.
carbon cycle and maybe nitrogen
It will,
cycle.
yeah.
I was gonna say, at this level, let's just talk about one system.
Right.
well, that's what we're dealing with, so.
And that's why I suggested flow of matter through systems.
Technically, when we get done, we should be able to take earth materials and systems, and we should have a set of standards that run K-12,
Right.
all about earth materials and systems.
Right.
And that's why I wouldn't put water cycle.
I know,
on
that's
there.
my concern, because this way,
Right, that's right.
Probably we're gonna see that.
All right, are there any,
I don't believe I'm gonna exist in that utopia, but
all right, ladies and gentlemen, any
Yes, sir.
segments of earth materials and systems that need to change?
Ann is checking that.
Laurel Speaking Giants, I'll believe it.
Water, as long as we kept water cycle in these little boxes,
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
I feel like my classroom management skills are starting to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going up on the ship.
it's just, let it go. Let it go.
Love that.
We need our GoNoodle.com. You ever been to GoNoodle.com? What's wrong?
Now what-
GoNoodle.com.
Well, we're just checking on that, what we're thinking, I got a couple circles.
All one word, GoNoodle.com.
5-2E.
One was
right,
to
so-
describe the trace of passive, so it's E, it looks like 4E.
Yeah, E needs to change.
And it's, okay,
It's develop a model
oh yeah, and it's
to, and then the rest is fine.
to trace the path.
Right.
So develop a model to trace the path, blah, blah, blah. And then that's definitely gonna be the most complex, because we had that circle anyway.
And we actually flip-flop those two in the glees, but we really don't need to. E
Yeah.
and F we flip-flop, but I don't think we need it right now.
Okay,
Oh, I'm still checking.
And you're going B through J, correct? You go B through J, okay?
Wait, E through J.
No,
what are you
B
doing?
through K.
A through K, okay, I can't see the K then.
Okay, so wait a second.
the other
What's
one,
this
we identified, the other one we had
There you go.
Okay, very good, thank you.
was H on that row, identify and summarize relationships with the other data.
Yes.
Where's he at?
Okay,
And that was also.
Yellow.
We highlighted.
yeah, highlight that.
I think so.
Now, the thing that we had though, sort of in addition to that, we kind of broke out, like, there was 3 that were about human needs. So like water quality and human needs. The last 3
Are you
also
talking
brought
about
in,
H?
we're on the same page, but now it's on the second page of this great big long document. So there's the last 3 are all say humans, and they're all about humans and water quality and how we use water and all that. So,
So that's I, J, and K, correct?
so we felt like propose, the very last one was another one to assess. We're going to propose it to.
That one needs to change to design
Oh, okay.
instead of propose, put design.
It's still high level, so we felt that that was, you know, accessible.
I like it.
So it's a big standard, but there's, you know, so we got four yellow ones. and that's okay. Let's, well, compare it with the row above it, which used to be the same. All 4, that's what I'm saying.
I like the breakdown.
All right.
I like the breakdown, Liz.
Do you have any other changes in earth materials and systems?
So we're gonna be looking ahead too, so we can
Yeah, somebody start looking for it.
What?
We got a bottleneck here, right, to start with as far as tasks, so somebody could be looking ahead to see if these have changed, and which ones have changed. And we have 3 documents that we just got small print, but we, you know, so somebody could be looking ahead to make sure we know what.
Except, here's what I'm gonna tell you. I can't participate in a conversation while you're doing
What's it,
that, so
somebody?
someone's
It's
gonna
you.
have to
What's it,
sacrifice.
somebody?
I don't mind the sacrifice, but whoever does it isn't gonna be involved.
I-
Do we have an extra copy of the stove?
We have 3 copies.
No, the stove is secret.
I think
Yes.
you're putting that one in.
I will get
Jimmy's got that copy right there, don't you?
Yes.
Here, now, would
No,
that
she
help
did this.
you?
Yeah, because if you'll be our look ahead, that'll speed things up. All right, that's always good. Are we keeping
The other thing, just what, so that whoever's looking ahead, if you could then also figure out what the need is, you know, because you gotta look back into the need document and say, like, for instance, here's all this observer identifier, oh, we changed that, oh, well, now he's finding, so you can tell him where to look.
You don't have that microscopic copy that we just.
Structure.
The blue document. I have this.
We have 3 of them, so,
I have this.
okay.
Okay, so look,
You don't have the lead document?
I mean, I don't have our old.
Not the old one.
Because guess who
I'll
has
give you
mine?
yours back, I know, that's right here.
It's all
It's
nicely
nicely
marked.
tagged and everything.
I don't understand why you don't have it.
Yeah, because it's.
Do you need one? You pull it up online.
All right, so, are we using the term solar system? Solar.
It's different.
Okay,
All right, what one here gets highlighted, and one here gets changed?
Second words.
We actually have this split into 2.
Mhm.
And so the first 2 are on one row,
up the next one.
Well, think of these.
Okay,
and then the remaining ones are on the next row. So B and C are on one row, and then D through the rest is on the next row.
Because the first 2 were more about lights, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're here right now.
So, the title for the first 2, our standards say energy has a source. Energy has a source, can be stored and can be transferred. Hang on, I can't read what I'm writing. Energy has a source, can be stored and can be transferred, but is conserved within the system. NGSS says conservation of energy and energy transfer.
highlighted.
I like that.
I think you make that.
I think.
I like it because I think
None of
it's
these,
Similar to
none of these
understand.
things is focused on conservation of energy.
not yet.
Not yet, but they do come into play. I don't know if they will in the elementary, but they will.
This component is more about transfer of energy, but there are other ones, there are other standards throughout this that deal with the conservation of energy.
Okay, so then, which one of those 2 gets highlighted?
We actually didn't identify one of those, and that's, because that, I mean, they're just.
Okay, so neither of those gets highlighted.
My question would be, because I'm not as familiar, is this the introductory stage for middle school? And so we're just setting the playing field up here. It wouldn't be an
There's
assessment.
nothing that's assessed. Okay,
Where
Well,
did we
what-
do,
What, I mean, this is the one I played out, right? On the, you know,
Oh,
the big ideas. So light is, it's subservient to this other thing that I think we're building for. So yes, it's hopefully it's gonna be built on in middle school, but yeah, it's built on
okay,
here.
so I
If we
get
were
this, if there's
assessing
nothing
Big time
assessed.
in middle
But
school.
my question is, if there's nothing assessed, what do we do?
I think there is something assessed, I think we assessed the first one.
Observe and explain light.
Yeah, well, because it's a big misconception that you can see unless light reflects off. You can see without light reflecting off something, but that's not true. There has to be light for you to see.
How do you see it, so?
That's the second one.
Oh, that's the-
No.
The second one was.
Observe and explain light being transferred from the source to the receiver through space, which is the eye. So in order for you to see something, light has to travel through, bounce off something, and come back to your eyeball in order for you to see it. And what people think is, because we don't deal with absolute darkness, people don't understand that we are never in a world that has no light whatsoever. So they think our eyes will adjust, no matter how dark it gets.
That's
Our eyes
true.
will adjust and be able to see. But if you're in a cave where there is no source of light, you will never be able to see.
I had never thought of
So it's the concept, and I'm telling you, there's a misconceptions video of a little girl that sits in a dark room for 40 minutes and she still thinks after 40 minutes that in a few days her eyes will adjust and she'll be able to see. Even though there's no light in there and she's never going to be able
Well,
to see.
and do we need to note that
It's a
to make
big
sure that's
misconception.
covered in the
I've
misconceptions?
I've never heard of anyone.
I've heard that misconception,
That
they
must
think
be a
things come out
Southern
of your
Missouri
eyes.
thing, huh?
It could be a Budio thing. Where are you from?
Southwest Missouri.
All right, now we finally see it.
I just like it.
I love you, John.
I think we
Okay,
addressed the
however,
first.
so if you're standing by that, that means we need to highlight C.
What I'm saying,
B-A.
what I'm saying
Bob's
is,
got his hand up.
the first one, which is whatever we probably, would probably be, the word I focus on is straight lines. Okay?
Yes.
The light travels in straight lines. The C, right, says about what you're saying, light.
There is no C that I'm seeing.
Yes.
does.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say,
I'm
now.
Oh, good, yeah, I'm good with discussing that one, Bob, I agree.
That's right.
Wholeheartedly.
Okay.
So we're gonna assess
C is
both.
the one, no, C is the one.
Just
we
C,
use.
that's
More
okay,
complicated.
that's
I agree
That's
totally,
my
Bob.
thought.
I wasn't reading it
All
right.
right, so,
Gotcha.
if we're done with that, underneath conservation of energy and energy transfer, there's a blank box, what goes in it?
Okay, then that would be, I call it the structure and motion of solar system objects.
Well, you wanna know what squeeze call it?
Yeah.
They call it regular and predictable motions of objects in the universe can be described and explained as a result of gravitational forces.
And,
NGSS calls it Earth and the solar system.
I like that.
Now, what we could
Motion
do,
approved.
what we could do is we could call it Earth's place in the universe. Since like you say, it's gonna go beyond solar system to higher grades. So Earth's place in the universe is.
Earth's place in the universe.
I can live with that too.
I like that.
Earth,
Look
places.
at you, Bob.
I feel as if.
I think that's from,
Really.
probably 2061, so that's not my idea.
That's kind of cool. That's what Star Trek is.
It
It is from Star Trek.
There you go, I got it, for some reason I'm here. So, in that one,
I like
we basically said that those last two relate change to light and relate parent motion. I got them both circled. Okay, what were we, for that one?
H and I,
We circled this one. Have the reboot.
Yeah, well, but that's,
Oh, okay.
but did we, did
So
we
which
just
two were that,
uncircle?
okay? That's what I wanted to say.
See, I thought the one that they're talking about, which is your tall scheme on E, 6E, describe features of the planet Earth, that's a real one thing. That's all by itself. And I call that comparative planetology. That's the comparing of different planets based on their characteristics. And there's none others that are like that. That's where life comes in. The Earth is special. So none of the others say Earth is special. That one does. So, what to do about that?
Okay, I was doing my job, so you're gonna repeat everything you just said, because I didn't get to list.
So describe physical features, the one kind of in the middle is
E.
6E.
You can't catch that by itself.
It is unique in the sense that it's the only one that says Earth is unique. The Earth is special. And so the other one that talks about life. Now, I love it because then it can relate to
So
life
we have
science.
two
Connect.
strands on top of this Earth place of the solar system, we need to have two strands up there. One of them is gonna be that. strand.
recognizing that.
Recognizing that strand as a testable on its own, and then
Recognize that Earth is.
The Earth is.
And then
Okay, so
the
here's
better
my
place.
question.
Yeah.
Is the last one truly, is the last one fluff?
No, because the idea was that it's the rotation that's causing these changes. right? And so for them to try to make that conceptual connection, that's a bridge, right? That's an impressive bridge.
It says there's rotation on the other one.
Both of them, that's why I said two yellow ones.
This one,
This one really says, all those changes in shadow and the changes in the moon and the sun, that's because Earth is rotating.
Right, but I guess my question is, at the 5th grade level, that's the one I really want them to get. The last one, the one about the shadows is the one I really want them to comprehend at 5th grade.
Okay.
I'm asking, is this last box a kind of nice to know introduction to future content that they really don't need to have mastered yet? And it's something the teacher should talk about, but it's not something we're assessing at 5th grade.
No, I think you should definitely, I think it's very accessible and it's very, and it should be. They need to understand about the moon and they need to understand about.
I didn't say you wouldn't do it. And they wouldn't
No.
understand. I'm saying it doesn't need to be on the state one.
And even on the GLEs, it already said do not accept, do not assess.
You know, it says print motion of the polar
Polar
constellation.
constellations, that's
But
very
that's something totally different.
Okay.
So you're wanting to read on this one.
I mean, it-
It was, she
I'm
says
not saying
we
it's
want
not important. I'm
Major
saying
on.
it's an introduction, and at middle school, they're gonna nail it harder.
Right.
I'm saying that this is not a mastered concept at 5th grade.
one other difference.
It's a building block,
One other
it's an
difference between the
introduction.
two is one is focused on the day and the other is focused on the night. And if they say stars, well, you can't see stars during the day, so.
And I think that's one of the reasons that
I think they're not.
Yeah, basically,
Your day's out.
basically it's the dark day. and-
Right.
One's talking about the night, one's talking about the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And again, I have no.
You don't know what.
I don't want it scraped out.
I don't think the
No,
night
I
one,
think it should be there, but I don't know that we should be assessing it on a statewide.
I don't think we
exam.
should if it's night related.
Why is that?
Because Perry brought this up the other day, that how can we be responsible for instruction about something that.
No, that was totally something, you know, he was saying, I'm making a test question about, or I think about
An observation.
observation at night, and we can't do that.
Right.
But this is, we can cover this ground. You're talking about the motion, the apparent motion of the sun, moon, and stars.
You think
And that's
you
gonna-
can
that's
get
gonna
a
explain-
5th grader to conceptually understand the motion?
I think I get a 5th grader to do it. So I'm assuming they get 5th grader. With little to no, I mean, we can get our 3rd graders to understand, you know, that the moon doesn't go in a straight line. We get them to understand that it actually goes on ellipses. And it's tilted on the.
I'm not talking about individual orbs going. I'm talking about putting all 3 of those together and how they
Motion of
interact
the
with
sun,
one another is what
The
I'm talking
moon
about.
and the stars.
All together, the motion all together and how that interacts.
I think when you
I
bring
think Bill
in,
Nye does it in about 22 minutes. And it's not that hard to understand. I really do.
Good
And
for Bill Nye.
I'm just saying, I mean, it's a very simple thing. I don't think it's that difficult.
So we're doing all 3 of those?
I would mirror on that. I would go simpler on that. I'd have to agree that that's kind of a difficult.
For 5th grade students?
So,
I just want to say whether, I would have you tell me what is difficult about it.
is, hold on,
It's the
What was
exact same.
difficult
Because
about
you're talking
you
about-
understanding moon phases?
highlighted as well.
I said moon phases.
No, what, but that's what I'm saying, that's what you're asking kids to do, you're asking them to understand
How it all
the,
falls together.
how the sun reflects off the moon, how we can only see certain portions of the moon because of where we are on the earth, and the relationship between all 3 of those. That's what this standard means to me.
right,
Which one?
The last one.
it's talking about how 3 separate things are interdependent of each other, but they're,
And how they're related.
And how they relate
Exactly.
together. That's the
And I
part
think
that I
that's-
think is hard for a
Alright.
5th grader to get.
to be able to explain the relationship, I think is too much.
There
How would
are not,
how would you expect them to explain it on an assessment?
there are not 3 things.
How would you expect them to explain that?
Well,
But
how
it's
many
always
would you
like-
say
What would
there
they
are?
have to
Can I
draw?
explain, okay,
3
You do
things
this way.
related.
explain to me the difference, how you're gonna explain this one without explaining this one.
And Earth.
Just do
Because
that.
I can look at a shadow, this one's one's asking me to talk about shadows, and it has to do with the time of day and the way the sun is, and how the earth spins. So that's two
So related to the
bodies.
motion of the earth.
Two. I haven't added the moon in there. I just got the sun and the earth and how that affects shadows.
And you can take
That's
them
two.
outside at different times of the day and show them the
When
shadow.
you get to this last one, you're talking all three and how they interact together.
Right,
This is
that's
talking
people.
about.
Well, I got you, people, I'm gonna just tell you that they don't have a problem.
What I'm saying is, because they're saying due to, or this is the last phrase, to the rotation of the earth, that's not talking about the moon's orbit. That's talking about the fact that every day I see the panning of the objects because Earth is rotating.
Well, if
I'd
we're not
explain it with
understanding,
the-
if we're not understanding it, a teacher who is.
That's where I'm coming from.
Background's not
Well,
gonna
It's a
understand it, and then
merry-go-round.
they're not gonna be able to teach it to their students.
Well, I'm telling you that I am a
If it
teacher,
were
I
a
teach this,
merry-go-round,
and
then
we
we
can
would-
teach, and we do teach this.
But you are
I'm telling you that I don't think I've
excellent
ever seen anyone that had a problem with that. So I'm just trying, I'm asking seriously, there's really not a big difference in these two.
What I'm saying is, I'm not interpreting it the way you guys are. I see it as being the fact that.
Then you need
because
to
we're sitting on
reword
a-
it.
Okay, we're sitting on a merry-go-round, and as we go around, everything, our view changes. Oh, there's the moon, oh, there's the sun, oh, there's, we just keep.
So, but to me, this includes why we see only portions of the moon at
No.
certain times.
No.
Yeah, it does.
So you're
Because
reading,
isn't
you're reading
it
into
It's
it.
not there, it's not there,
You're reading into it.
it's
right?
not there.
So that's not what it says at all. It doesn't say anything about moon phases at
Absolutely
all.
not.
You don't think that the way the earth
It does
rotates
not say
and
that.
the sun and the moon move around us does not determine that what we see of the moon?
Relate is the first word, relate
Which
something,
means make a
Apparent
relationship.
motion.
relate something to the motion of the earth, to the rotation of the earth. So that something means, all I care about is the rotation of the earth. And that's sitting on a roller coaster, on a merry-go-round, and I see you, and I see her, and I see him, and then up her again, up her again, up him again. That's it. We're rotating.
Then it definitely needs to be reworded, because rotation of the earth is not a priority the way that's written.
And if it's not clear, whoever's developing the assessment may
It's
try to
freaking-
assess something that we are not intending.
If you're not intending for it to be assessed, you need to put that in parentheses.
How
Do
would
not
Anyone
assess.
that's gonna write a science test is going to understand that without even.
What
looking.
about the
fine, but-
concept, what about the concept that the moon goes around at a different speed than the earth?
So there's a couple motions. There's the motion of the earth spinning on its
Right.
axis, and that's all they're talking about here. Now, what happens in the sky as a result of 24-hour spin, that's all this is addressing. Okay? Sure, the moon is going around the earth, but this is just a 24-hour day and night cycle.
But this is saying how
H is
does,
about the day, I is about the night.
this is saying how does the motion of the moon,
No, motion of the rotation of the earth.
motion
Motion of the sun,
Parent.
moon,
The
stars.
moon.
Parent motion.
Okay, can I, Stephanie, right?
Yes, Stephanie.
You taught 8th grade?
I still do.
Can we ask you a question?
Sure.
Because from a 5th grade perspective, 5th grade teacher, relate the apparent motion of the sun, moon, and stars in the sky to the rotation of the earth. What does that mean to you in your classroom?
It's horrible in 8th grade. They were just talking about that shouldn't be 5th grade, that should just be 8th grade.
Thank you.
Because it is hard for 8th grade to
Because
get,
it's very abstract.
yes, very abstract. So I would just suggest models and, that kind of thing. I don't know if
We're
that's.
just trying to decide, we're just trying to decide.
Sorry to put you on the spot, but if it's not gonna be assessed,
That's not related.
I think it's cognitively too, it is too abstract.
What about this one then, just while you're here?
I don't know, am I agreeing with the majority in here or no?
Just don't
Ask that.
relate changes in the length and position of a shadow to the time of day and apparent position of the sun in the sky determined by Earth's rotation.
6 each. Relate that to time of day.
Are either of these assessed right now in 5th grade?
No, they're both in fifth grade.
It's already in
Now,
there.
I don't know if they're
Assessed.
like,
Sorry.
they could be.
They're on the GLEs, they're
Right.
current GLEs.
Okay, here's 5th grade.
Yeah.
The bottom one feels good.
Well, I definitely think that one before the last one.
That's what we.
I thought the H,
Yeah.
I can take them, I can
If we
show them
worded it
shadows.
more like that.
Yeah, we do a shadow lab in 8th grade, like and they collect that data over time of the year.
And while you can make models and examples of the last one, I just still don't think they're gonna get the
Well,
complete abstract
I
concept.
think, well, I guess, you know, what I think, where I'm coming from is that word
I
apparent,
do too, I think.
that
we
has,
bring
that historically in astronomy, that's what it means. Apparent motion means because they're the spin.
But you're a scientist, you're
I'm
talking
just
about a
saying,
5th grade
I'm just
teacher.
saying.
All I'm
That's
saying is
why-
reword it.
If you introduce it on a concrete level, perfect, and we'll do our best to
But
take
it
it from
should,
there.
it shouldn't be assessed.
It should not be an assessment.
I agree with that, yeah, I agree with that.
Thanks for nothing, you may go now.
Thanks for everything, you may go now.
You are dismissed.
Can I tell you what the next generation does?
Yeah, please.
Please do. The orbits of Earth around the sun and of the moon around the Earth, together with the rotation of Earth about an axis between its north and south poles, cause observable patterns.
The observable
Which
patterns
is
I'm
the
okay
shadows.
with.
Yep.
The observable patterns I'm okay with, but that's not what I'm getting when I read that last one.
Okay, it goes on,
Okay, okay.
it goes on. You want me to start from the beginning?
You keep going.
Okay. The orbits of Earth around the sun and of the moon around the Earth, together with the rotation of Earth about an axis between its north and south poles, cause observable patterns. These include day and night, daily changes in the length and direction of shadows, and different positions of the sun, moon, and stars at different times of the day, month, and year.
Day, month, and year, I like that.
I think that's very
Yeah,
well
we
worded.
could combine these two,
That's
into
very
that.
well worded.
because I think it sounded to me like that one thing said these two things. And it's
Yeah.
so
Well, they
it's
said
worded, so,
It's
observable
worded
pattern.
well.
Observable
worded
pattern.
But it takes the word night, I mean, you can observe night, but it doesn't say night.
It isn't to me,
In my level of understanding.
Motion.
Okay, so can we have
Yeah, just
someone
take the
who
two.
would be willing to word craft these two standards into the next, in GSS, which one is that?
It's 9 and 10.
What's the
It's
code?
directly, actually.
Well, I know, what's the code?
It's, it's 5th grade, 5 ESS1.
Five ESS1
Is it the
B,
what?
I can take this to Eric right now.
then do it. But it's not written in standard language.
Okay.
It doesn't have a verb,
Write this and we'll change it.
so we'll have to wordsmith it.
And you don't wanna use recognize. You
No,
wanna,
that's not strong enough.
Yeah, it's not.
Identify
Who
my
has a
word.
How about, how about
Where's
describe?
the okay circle somebody had right there?
These guys.
Oh, those words are on top, right there.
There,
Right there. Maybe we can pick one off here.
and pull a three.
All right, where am I putting Earth in the solar system? Where am I putting this? This one that you pointed out, ESS1B, Earth in the solar system?
One thing,
We're replacing both of those with that.
well,
H
what I,
and I being replaced.
Yes, with what's
one
written
thing
there.
that NGSS has added now to this is just about rotation on the axis.
Right.
They added about
Revolution.
on
That's what I was saying from the beginning, that I think it's there.
I do too.
You think that needs to be there, you don't think that's the
I-
difference?
No. I think that's very succinct, as long as we don't assess that
Right.
specifically, I think children need to know that. I'm telling you, we teach that in 3rd grade.
Okay, good.
Rotation and revolution.
I-
Yes, yes.
I don't know that they understand it, but we teach it.
We introduced it. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
gonna build on it.
Observable patterns is what,
Is the,
that's the
That's
part
the
that's
key word.
important to
Okay.
me.
Describe the observable patterns
oh, I like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Keep
in
going.
the motion of moon, sun, well,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Let us type it up
You
there.
got it, Bob, that's what we need.
That's
Describe, or describe that, the rotation of the earth about its axis, and the orbit of the earth around the sun, cause,
Describe the observable patterns that the rotation of the earth, blah, blah, blah,
Why don't you just let
cause.
us type that verbatim first and then fix it out?
Yeah.
That might be easier, that we can all see it.
Right.
Yeah, that's better.
Fairly soon, we're gonna have to press the end of this and work on our letter real quick. Just for-
Now, because you got an hour and 5 minutes.
Right, and our
before-
comments for we gotta, I mean, not say we have to be done, but look for them to be done.
All right,
And
so
we
here's this typed in, how do we be edited?
Describe the observable patterns caused by the orbits of the earth around the sun and of the moon around earth together with the rotation of the earth about its
So you
axis.
just added in front of
And
it.
I
then,
just
Right.
took the back end and put it at the
and
front.
then
So,
the last sentence,
She said,
example.
describe the observable patterns.
And then the last sentence, we changed to the example.
Right.
Night,
Right, then in parentheses, just put day, night, daily
okay, so
changes in
describe the observable patterns, what?
describe the observable patterns caused by, then it's the orbits of Earth. Does that make sense, Bob? Is that accurate?
And the moon around Earth together with the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
About-
And then, yeah, and then in parentheses, you can do just like Kelly said, put those things, list those things as examples. I feel better about that, thank you very much.
All right,
Yes.
how close is this?
Now caused by the orbits of the earth.
That's, I put caused by the orbits of the earth.
Yeah,
And I would say the
its
orbit,
axis, learn about its axis.
I see what you mean.
It's
The orbit
one
of
of
the
them
earth
is out
around
there.
the sun and the orbit of the moon around the earth. And then think-
yeah, I like that better too, the orbit of the moon around the Earth.
Orbit,
Oh, twice, orbit of earth and orbit of moon.
Orbit.
I agree.
The moon around the earth. Together with,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, take out the between the north and south poles, that's
together with.
that's
all right, so how does this work?
These include.
No? What's wrong with
No,
it?
I just, my fingers on it.
Has it changed too much?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. We don't even have that thing about the axis in there.
I think it's too wordy to say.
It's way too wordy, it's way
Axis,
too wordy.
axis has to be in the north and south pole. I think you cut out too much.
Describe the observable orbits.
Well, we're gonna describe the observable patterns caused by the orbits.
Caused by the orbit.
Caused by the-
Orbit, the back end.
So there's on orbits, on the first orbit,
Mhm.
Rotation of the box axis.
Of the earth around the sun and
and
the
the
moon around the earth. You don't need that.
Don't put orbit twice on there.
That's what I was saying, to say the orbit twice, that was what I said.
Caused by the orbits, on the first orbits.
And I don't know, the orbits,
It feels clear to me having.
Two
six
orbits.
orbits,
Okay, then
have
let's-
orbit in two
Okay.
places.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Between its north and south pole, you left it front off,
Yeah, I think it's too wordy.
too wordy.
I think you get axis, everyone's gonna know too much.
Axis.
Okay, okay.
One
Yeah,
axis.
axis is kind of.
We only
Well, we're
got.
talking about countries. I'm just joking. It's a little joke, social situation.
I'm not poking her.
I got slapped.
Yeah, I think I like that.
You just heard it get slapped.
You're not that
I guess thumbs up. I
All
like
right,
it.
folks, how do you feel about
Then
this?
Are we
how
putting that
H&I
second
and
sentence
yellow
in
check.
parentheses?
I think so, get rid of those two gold ones.
Right, so
Yeah.
H and I are gone.
Yeah, they'll go away.
Oh, yeah, they're gone, that's right.
Yeah.
And make it yellow.
Okay.
Yellow.
And merge those cells.
And merge those cells.
Very good.
And H now is gonna be contestable.
Yes.
Okay,
That's-
Something
I don't know, do we want it
changed.
vegetable?
that's my question.
I don't know if we're gonna make it.
Oh, boy, wasn't it?
Well, that was what we were working on.
Well,
Well,
you
you're
were
gonna
down
work
before, now we're not
Starting
going to.
from teams.
Well,
We
we
are.
don't have to create the assessment
We are.
question, so we'll move on. We need to
are.
figure out which one
Right.
on,
Or you should say that out
On
loud.
that Earth Placement Universe, we actually do want to test. Which one we want to.
We want that one, and we want
Now, the
describe
question-
physical features of the planet Earth that allows life
Okay.
to exist.
That's right.
So,
So
E.
We're
So
testing,
you-
all right, you are wanting to still test H.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you sure?
No.
I just want you to
We are sure.
think about that.
what, that was cool.
H.
What,
I mean,
say,
I think it's awfully hard to
I
tell.
think it's very, I think it's too
I-
difficult.
I think as an introduction, it's good.
I think as an introduction, it's great.
But you're talking about age appropriate, I mean,
I'm just not sure they can wrap their heads around.
cognitively,
That's my question.
We can
Not with all those
revisit,
hormones.
no.
we can revisit that when we are.
Okay, I'm just seriously.
Okay,
That's a
so
lot.
Eric, letter E needs to be changed,
It
the
looks like a
wording.
lot, but you actually realize it's not.
And you can actually find it at Strand 6, number 1, big B, a capital
It's 93
B,
million miles away.
It's all covered though.
Strand 6, number 1,
Fifth
capital
grade
B.
A,
Huh?
fifth grade A,
Yes. And it's, yes.
just word for word.
No, yeah, wait, we crossed out the, and we got rid of the S on allows.
And so this is E.
Yes, in box E, okay, or you can just copy and paste. Okay, and then the next one needs changed,
So hold on.
okay.
So looking at E, that's what you want E to say, and E is being tested.
Yes.
Yeah, just think you have to think about.
Yes. Then F also needs to change, and you'll find it at 6-2, capital B, 5th grade, little a. Now, here's my question. This one we changed to a performance standard. Do we want to consider assessing this one instead of H? That's just a
the
possibility.
sequence of the lit portion of the.
We changed it like big time.
What is it?
Observe and explain the relationship between the state of the lit portion of the moon and its relative position to the Earth and Sun. And you're wanting that instead of F?
That's what we changed F
Change
to.
it to,
Gotcha.
we did change it.
We changed that one significantly. And then the next one, identify that the Earth rotates, we changed that to 6, you'll find that at 6-2, capital C, F, 5th, little a. Oh, when we changed the one we got rid of. Okay, then the one we got rid of, we actually, a shadow one, we actually changed it to describe how the Earth's rotation affects the change in length and position of a shadow.
Okay, so if we put that back in, is that assessment?
Isn't that covered in H?
It is, yeah, I think so now. Our shadows in H now?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
so we really don't need it.
so are you saying we need to delete one?
No.
Okay,
Wait,
Which one?
No, there's nothing that needs to be deleted.
We changed the previous shadow one to describe how the Earth's rotation affects the change in the length and position of the shadow.
All right, so this is what we have for Earth's place in the universe. What needs to be changed?
Here's my problem, and I know we just spent a whole long time on this. I feel like we could assess the shadow question.
I do too.
Yeah. But we can't assess that question, that standard. I still feel that way, I'm sorry.
On H.
Right.
So you're thinking
We
what
would
you're
split out
arguing
the
for
shadows.
is keep H, but have an I that is assessed about shadows and don't assess.
That would be the one that we changed and made on this, that was
So-
6-2,
The
capital
question is
C.
where are folks at on this?
Right.
I agree with Ann, I put not assessed on H and put the shadow one into assessed. I still think H is too much for a fifth grader. I think it's great to teach and introduce, and it's wonderful, and I would love to see it in the classroom, but I think there aren't enough meds if that showed up on a fifth grade test as a fifth grade teacher.
Yeah, no one can get it right.
Can we test G?
G.
Can fifth graders do G?
Identify that the earth rotates on the.
That's a regurgitation.
Yeah, that's just.
That is a
So
quad
can
A.
they say what happens as a result of the rotation of Earth in 24 hours? Or what's the
That
general-
that a shadow would lengthen or shorten, or non-exist.
Or the fact that I'm gonna see the sun, and then I'm gonna see it again, and I'm gonna see it again.
I don't know if they'd go there.
Not again and again.
No, they're not gonna go there.
Every 24 hours, something repeats.
Yeah, they're not gonna stick again and again, they're gonna get once.
Every 24 hours. Not once, every 24 hours.
They're not gonna go there.
I don't understand.
It rotates on its axis every 24 hours. They're gonna be looking at it as one day.
So they think the morning starts with sunlight and it ends with dark.
Right.
They see the new day beginning, a new set of 24 hours. They don't, it's day one, day two for them. It's not
It's
that,
not a continuation.
exactly, thank you, that's the word I couldn't put there.
They cognitively don't think that way.
And that's their cognitive
They
thinking.
cognitively do not think.
They
that way.
can't think past right here.
They can barely do hours, let alone.
Right.
That's why time at kindergarten
Time
is
is
a waste
huge.
of time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The last time at fourth grade was my biggest nightmare, and that's just one more grade level up.
Sounds like a lot of people are piling on H, so go ahead.
So we,
Either that or make H and I purple, or just make a note that we need to come back and visit it, because I'm gonna tell you that my opinion could change after I process a little bit.
It will.
I just.
Well, and I would like to leave it as it is and take H back and show it to my fifth grade teacher.
I would like to show it to some fifth grade teachers.
That's what, I wanna do a fair test.
That's a good idea.
So if we could mark it somehow and process it, I would feel better.
We're gonna purple it.
It's wordy, it's
if
wordy,
nothing
so
else, they may
if
have
you
to
know
go
why
there.
it's wordy, then we won't have a fair test.
It is wordy, but it's
I would
not
send it out all the
in.
time.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate for fifth grade.
I think it should definitely be there. It's
I do
whether we should
too.
be assessing.
Yeah.
I have no problem with
Teaching it,
it.
introducing it, and Right. assessing it.
I have no problem.
I mean, I would be elated to see that in the classroom, but I would cry if I had to teach assessment.
It's not assessment now.
Right, so why would we cram more down on them?
Why do we have to assess this at all? Why do you have to assess that at all?
Why do we have to say?
We don't have to.
how do folks feel about this?
Which one?
This being,
Oh, this would be I.
and I actually being the assessed action.
I think that's fabulous.
I think that's fine, I'm still gonna take H back and show it from fifth grade teachers.
No,
And
yeah.
I'm putting
I
in
want
notes-
their input, I wanna hear
and
what
I'm
they have to
putting
say.
in the notes field, that we're gonna come back and, revisit H.
I voted as factor.
You know, it's been a ton of years since some of these teachers have had any kind of astronomy or earth science, guys.
You're right.
Well,
And
same
some of
can
them
be said
only
about-
get one college class on, and that's it.
Same can be said about the entire thing.
That's exactly it. That's why it is such, a complex piece to do and make it simple.
Okay, we have to help Perry with his report.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
right.
Right, so.
Hey, Karen.
What kind of report do you have to do, Perry?
We just gotta fill out what we've done.
Okay, so what do you need from us?
What are the questions?
You want us to jigsaw it? What do you want us to do?
No, this actually.
Just read to us, Karen.
And things happen, Barry.
Can you check once?
Huh? I can type fast. Okay.
All we're doing right now, all I'm
I
trying,
just dropped my pen.
all I'm gonna,
It's on page
4,
So what do you want us to do?
first one, and then she just, what she did, she just took the questions. It may have changed a little when I got it all. Trying to answer all these questions and all these questions in the same form. So, the first part's just getting everybody's making things on it.
So we've got a question from next door,
We want her,
they are
we want
wondering
all these
if,
we want all the emails.
they are wondering, so
Okay.
we initially had these down, and we called these performance standards, and then so I said call them assessment standards. So what they're asking, next door is, can we just call these cross-cutting concepts the same way it does in GSS? The question is, are you getting these from the blue placemat? And the answer to that is yes, correct?
That's where we were gonna get them. That's where we were gonna start to get them.
And so the question is, they're asking, if that's our starting point, can we just call this the cross-cutting concepts the same way as NGSS does?
What
Want to solve show me standards?
Right, so, okay, using cross-cutting is, in Missouri, not everyone's gonna know what that is.
So what,
So the answer is no.
So it comes from the show me
I
standard,
mean, if it's coming from the placemat, it's the show me standards.
You didn't have to
I mean, I
capitalize
think
those?
that's whatever.
unless we're gonna add to that, and then it's not the show me
Well,
standard.
but the man said that she's not gonna change, right?
Right, that's under the old one.
That's not gonna change, but are we gonna put something in
Okay.
there that
Capitalize it now.
is different than what's on the placemat?
I don't think we start the
Period.
nomenclature and verbiage, I think we just put whatever they want us to show. I really do. And then if the state says they want to change them, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
I would
essentially,
think-
so for the time being, show me standards?
Right, but we haven't,
What do you think?
so that we know where we're pulling that from, and in the
Everything.
end, we might change that. And
Yeah.
they know everybody has their place.
Right.
Because kind of what we were doing was putting ourselves names that we would know where we were pulling that from.
Yeah, mine's laminated.
And there are some people who can't even find it.
93 or something.
I know what my mine's in.
Revised 98.
Student organization. Student organization is what? And what is the next one? That's it?
Just the two.
Student organization and state board. Where's state board go?
Please read it.
State board, career. Did I miss
And
that?
it's State Board dash Career and Tech Center. Tech Center Student Organization.
Career, state board slash career
And Tech Ed Student Organization.
tech
There
ed
you go.
student organization,
Yeah.
comma. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now where does this
And
state
then,
board go?
Speaker.
House. Speak,
Figure the House representatives.
Those are the only two awaiting appointment.
okay, so there's only two.
And then a no show.
No shit.
There, so.
No.
They didn't have right now.
What's wrong with it? Oh, that's it.
State board.
I know, that's my whole wrong. Try to think about this and think about that. I know.
Something I,
Remember,
No,
with those devices, you're
I have
never
no
waiting.
choice, that's why they buy it for me, so it's not.
Okay, no
I know,
shows
but
and-
I think that's why there's so many health issues.
Oh, I
Not
agree.
today.
I agree with that.
Because there's
And the
times
location
when
of
this
where we
meets,
met.
I think,
Right.
So put a number
That's
for
number three,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
Because you're not, you're supposed to.
Stay
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, they can stare by me, I'm on the right.
where work group.
That's above and beyond.
Yeah,
They go on for the first,
but all in on together.
second, third.
Yep.
It's like teaching online.
Right,
Now they don't respond in 4 hours and they're
No,
like,
you didn't respond.
Right, like you're sitting there the whole time.
or
to,
like I'm not teaching during those 4 hours.
Right.
See this one? I don't know.
I know, you didn't respond to me.
Right.
Agree. And then they come and ask for a job.
Yes.
And I love it when they say, I want to know this.
Yeah.
Really? I thought you were looking for a seat.
Yeah, right.
You know?
I asked him like.
So true. Here's what you have to do.
He was telling me, he's like, I think you should ask me a question for a test. Give me some more time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Courthouse in Chicago. I got to go to
You know, because I don't
a
have enough time to look up on there. So I wrote back and I'm expecting that you learn some things and that you can, if you don't have to look up everything.
and I'm headed to
I don't know, it's crazy, but yeah, when I found out,
We talked to,
Oh.
we talked to.
Who were the,
when you should go to is the it's like stacked.
we did not bring in outside people.
We didn't bring any.
So we're gonna say no.
Because that-
Did the work
Well,
group
what
contact
was
and
the
ask
issue?
you outside
If-
people?
I spoke to people out in my district, Beverly's talked to people in her communities, that's your question.
Yeah, but we didn't ask them to come in and we
No.
didn't ask them.
Bring in outside people to help.
The work group didn't do anything.
There's another question that says, did you talk to Alex?
Right.
And the next
So,
question, did
What I did this morning.
work group
Did they
contacted
contact
us,
us?
opinions of outside people.
Yes.
We did the secondary science work.
Consulted with them.
So secondary, I'll say yes, and then we'll say
Yeah, I would say
secondary
in community
science
members
work group.
and district, I mean,
Personally,
personally we did and brought
no,
up.
but this isn't personal, this is as a work group.
Oh,
As a
okay,
group,
the
work group.
Sorry,
So
yes.
what was, did we request the representative guy to come in here and bear?
Inadvertently we did, I guess, after
Or
the
did he
meeting else
volunteer
came
to
out.
come
That
around
was,
and?
that came from the questions they asked him in,
At the flip.
Yeah, wait, were you there
Okay,
that
so we
day
didn't
to
ask
get
anyone
clarification?
else.
Yeah, that was Friday.
So number five.
Yeah, that was Friday.
Yes, he did, he gave
He came to our group.
every
Yes.
group.
Every group. And redefine the word standard,
Yeah, you think.
It was an apology.
So that was in his
Clara.
letter.
clarify
Right.
this versus whatever.
He clarified, yeah, the questions that came out of the meeting in June.
Yeah.
Five, this one we're gonna ask everybody's.
Mhm.
Number five says, progress report describing consensus of the work groups regarding what has been accomplished. We're not gonna write, I was just gonna say, we're not gonna write we were rocking it. Because they're gonna hear it say.
We are rocking and rolling, is my answer.
Estimation of
Estimation
percent
of, yeah,
completion.
how far along are we? 35%?
I'd say we've made great strides.
35%?
Yes.
And I think that's great.
I do too.
Okay, 6.
Well, I mean,
No,
the one
not
task,
your little game.
one task we finished 100%. Another task.
That's what-
Yeah, but the whole task is a whole.
and they do want us to tell them where we are.
I do think
So
we might even be finished next October. I really do.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But
wow.
that's-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that not everyone can say that.
I agree with that statement.
And that's the scary part, because if they don't get theirs done, and we get ours done,
Right.
then they're gonna go,
No, worst case scenario, we get called back and get told to do that too.
Take over all the other
it'll be,
ones.
there will have to be recompense, and it'll have to be during the summer, and not during July.
So the remaining issues to be addressed would be issues
The remaining issue to be addressed,
and the
work group
plan
For
for completion. So we have to finish content, scope, and sequence. We have to identify accessible, standards.
We have to consider vertical formatting with secondary.
Consider vertical, I put 35%,
Yeah,
that's
but
what
I'm,
they
no,
said.
so we skipped some of the, saying what we've actually accomplished. I think it'd be good to right here, we have totally went back and, I wanna say revamped,
We
Basically,
reviewed and critiqued. No.
revamped,
Revised.
K-5, Glees,
What's the verb?
Revised.
Revised? Reviewed and
review and
revised.
revise.
Reused it, but yeah.
Revised.
So it's not just the revise, you know.
You really
embellish.
upgraded.
That's true, we upgraded.
I don't know what the word
Reviewed,
is.
revised, and improved. Get that DOK circle and put the word out there.
I don't know if we can look
Get
at
it there. There you go.
Reviewed, revised, and increased rigor.
Yes.
The
K-5,
Current K-5,
current
yeah, very,
K-5,
very level expectations.
K-5
grade level
grade
education.
level education.
please.
Yeah, but you write grade level education so that, because
I
some
don't
of
think
the-
there's no one that
this is the-
misunderstands what GLEs are.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Okay, what else do you want to say?
Everyone's voice was heard. I
would
feel
almost
like
I would
we
almost
need
like
to
to make
say
something
that.
about the camaraderie and
Yes.
and the level of trust that this group seems to have.
Well, it's a professionally functioning group, collaborative.
That was
Build
respectful of all
professional.
opinions.
Built a professional, collaborative
It's so good to buy
culture
culture.
that provides, that encourages
Open.
discussion,
And participation from every member of the team.
participation
Thank you.
from
Cultural
Except one.
You might want to put that. We might also.
build a professional collaborative culture that encourages open discussion and participation from all members.
And you might want to put that through this, we've developed a common, or discovered that our common goal is to developing standards that ensure
Develop a
quality
Well, actually,
education.
isn't there a place up there that says vision? At the very top, doesn't it say vision?
Well, I took that right from the law.
So I
So
think
you
the
may
only
wanna
question.
do that.
Develop
That's
a
right from the
common
House bill,
goal,
Terry.
um,
The objective at the top.
Statement of objective.
Ensuring all members of uniform quality are able to
Well, I-
quality
that's it.
standards.
That's very good, it's kind of fruit and that's exactly right. But it's to make sure that teachers can easily interpret the standards for implementation, but I don't even know that that's necessary to say
a
that.
document
I think it's okay.
User
that
friendly.
expresses
The minimum assignment
what
needs to be-
we want students to know
And
and
be
be
able
able to do as members of a
For the kids and the
21st
Century.
century society,
Teachers somewhere.
For work.
and that will be user-friendly for teachers. Develop a common goal of creating a document that expresses what we want students to know and be able to do as members of a 21st century society, and that will be user-friendly for teachers.
And
Very
parents.
okay.
Teachers slash parents.
We've
I think that's
also
huge.
started this.
Why don't you just put
That's
all
where our
stakeholders?
parents-
Oh,
Put
well.
all stakeholders, I like
We
that.
started with kids.
Right.
I mean,
Is it
we're
gonna
all
be
stakeholders,
every- hey, Julie.
not those million
Julie.
kids.
Just look at Sam.
Okay.
But I will tell you, I
Oh,
just
you
can't
just
hear
said
enough
that word.
about supporting Missouri teachers, guys. Because one of the main
I agree.
issues with poor instruction in the classroom is not focusing enough on what teachers need and what teachers want, and addressing the needs of teachers in the classroom, and so.
Because teachers are doing with all that they have and know how.
And,
And our 95 or more % are, and
I think also that the more that we can communicate, to, yeah, and we're
We can communicate.
communicate to our, yeah, can't do that, to our parents and our other stakeholders is huge. The more they understand our goals, our aspirations for kids, and what we wanna do with them, I think the more that they see us as a team.
well, I think that they realize that our goals align.
Yeah.
We may have different avenues of reaching those goals, but they need to understand that we all are there for the children and to ensure that they receive a quality education so that they can be successful citizens. Right. And that's what I felt until I came up where we are on this. I just thought, why do I care?
Are we on site?
Because no one else does.
You think
It's
that's
been
good?
very difficult the last couple
I
of
think
years.
that's pretty good.
It has.
The teachers.
Oh, we could say fill in
But I
our
don't really
template.
Okay, actually.
So how, complete,
How about-
template?
Complete construction of new,
Complete construction of new template.
Format.
I don't know how, what are you gonna call this?
Yeah, of new.
Yeah, what are we gonna call this?
They
You know,
have
you guys?
access to us. Yes.
Eric, what do you call
Eric,
this
what are we
thing
gonna call
right
this
here?
thing?
It's a way to sequences, that's right.
Because
That's
I
the
ran out of
energy
people
of
more
more
than
than
that.
that.
Okay,
The
Paul.
scope and sequence
And
of
they
like.
don't
every-
have
This is a new,
Oh,
this is beyond.
This is a document.
Teachers are the first
of new.
I think what bothers me about
alignment
it, first,
tool or a new,
but
It is
it's not just
alignment,
like
but
You
it's
know,
more than alignment.
it's the
that's a new alignment tool that
Yeah.
incorporates everything. What's that?
This
And
way
new
around,
alignment.
It's new alignment.
Document?
Is
I
that
think
full
the
line?
legislature exhibits a lack of,
Yeah.
We're gonna see it.
respect for
I
everybody.
think they're really concerned that what's.
Absolutely. 7?
I just use it.
Okay.
Identify the obstacles / problems to overcome.
There you go. We say that out one side of our mouth, but our practices don't always align with that
That
statement.
is my.
That is my chief
Okay.
complaint
About
of a
everything.
lot of
I would
professions
honestly like to.
that revolve around that, is we all have
A
that
budget, that's not a joke. That's-
do not support that
Budgeting.
statement.
But
And let me just preach a little more on it.
That was down the street too.
Exactly, that's what I said. Yes.
Photocopy.
That's where it
That's a very real thing.
Such as photocopy. Let's just leave it at that.
Yes, it does.
Also, I would think budget to provide,
Such as photocopying, travel,
travel expenses.
reimbursement.
Yeah, fiscal resources to cover.
That's what I said, budget for needed
Budget
resources.
for needed resources such as photocopying, travel reimbursement, what
Parking.
else, parking. Well, it's travel
I didn't know if
reimbursement.
travel expenses might be.
General expenses.
And you know, truthfully,
Especially if you have an
like in Perry's case,
11-year-old Ford
his
pickup.
district, if they're having to supply us up, that,
They have to pay 2 days first for me.
right,
Mine
our,
pays 6.
Yeah, I gotta pay my
Mine just kind of mileage, it's just about mileage.
I'm lucky, my
Henry finished the book, he's carried on to my.
No, not quite.
I've not stayed.
Oh, yeah, that's what I think, like, my pocket's gonna
See,
be- Apple's one of the people.
Cause don't blow money on a stupid,
Okay, what else? Other
you know,
options.
workshops where you don't
Okay,
get.
can we seriously ask this question, because we need everyone to think on it? It says identification of obstacles / problems to overcome, or tools and information required to assure success. What else do we need, what else do you think we need?
I have budget for needed resources such as photocopying, mileage, lodging, meals, substitutes, etc.
Do you think of anything else that we need?
Well, not just budget, like just the ability to copyright, or copy, photocopy
And
Well,
they call it just expensive.
expenses.
It is an expense to whomever we're requiring that of, and the thing that is most impressive to me, or the biggest drawback to me, is that Christine couldn't be here. She is such an asset to our team, because she couldn't afford to be gone because of substitutes. If there were just, if there were a classroom teacher substitute,
and that's what we,
Yeah,
we've got that.
substitute in the travel and lodging expenses
Got that.
of, and you have that.
Mileage, lodging, meals, substitute.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't come in.
Any other tools that we need for what we're doing, because I think we're pretty much.
Well, they've always provided the
Exactly.
room and they've.
To me, I guess it's not.
It's nice they provide us.
Well,
Yeah.
here is something, but
it really is.
rooms, on days when they're not in session, they're not at work, like, we've only got this because he knows, he's on the.
Right, that would be
School board.
something. Right, if
So-
we don't have someone from Desi, because up to this point, they've arranged for rooms.
But
But now Eric's taking care of
he
us.
has Amalia's email now and can arrange on a school day
Yeah.
for,
Well, that's what I'm talking about, because we're gonna try not to be on school day so that it
Right.
doesn't
and then
require
you have to
substitutes.
go.
So
we have to
locations
arrange
to
ourselves.
meet on
On-
weekends?
Yeah, you can just put on weekends.
But I don't think it should be every weekend.
I was gonna say,
No.
I don't wanna
No.
meet
No,
all
that's not
weekends,
right.
because, I mean, I gave up these two, but I'm not willing to
Right.
give up a
And
bunch
we'll
of.
see where we're at, but I think that's what our districts, I mean, for me,
Right, it's
when
great,
my district breaks, when I go back and say, okay,
Sure.
sure,
in 15, I'm like, in March or in
Right.
April,
right,
then I get a couple more days and they won't box so much.
right, and
I
that's
told
the
myself,
reason.
look, I've already donated 2 of my own days,
You bet.
my
Sure.
weekends, because I just realized those were on the 3rd weekend, and we gotta usually go to the kids. That's okay. That's all right, especially they, I can use a break. I did say that, but I
So
don't.
do we have locations to meet on weekends or?
I've done it for 11 years, every 3rd.
We've got, I mean, you've got, but-
Facilities, but it'd be nice.
So I'll get rid of it. Okay, so there are no more needs or tools or things that
If
we
you
need
think
to
of anything, if
overcome.
you think of anything like in the next, like tonight, because I'm not gonna send it till tomorrow when I actually go over it all.
Okay.
Punch me an email and say, hey,
I thought of this.
Okay.
Well, I can think of one thing that's not pertinent right now, but I do think that I appreciate Eric's services and him setting up our page, our format and that sort of thing, but eventually when the entire state's ready, provides they're gonna want a format similar to what he's created, we'll need a programmer, someone.
And I emailed, because
This may
you
be
guys had questions about
functional.
what
Yeah, it's
format that the whole
Yeah.
group was, so I emailed, Desi, and they said, she didn't wanna sit with that on email, she said she'd talk to me after school. All right. But I need your email, and then I'll email it to you, whatever she says.
Well, and this is, yeah, I mean, really, what the background for the recipe is the lady from
The social studies.
study, you know, and she's worried that she's like, wow, you guys have a great format. We don't have a very good format, but then she's like, when everybody puts theirs together, and Desi goes, oh, wow, these are all different formats, we're just gonna make one. And they might not choose this one.
They've been in different formats before.
They've always
been- They've always
That's been a primary complaint.
For
Well-
elementary teachers, they want.
Except if you think about ELA and you think about math, every block in every grade level has always been filled.
Perhaps we could demonstrate this to other teams as well that are needing, and
That would
then
be
encourage, because I think they would be strongly encouraged by
I think
this.
they'll want to.
You know what, I say, you have somebody find the emails that email those others and just say, this is the format we're using, or, because you won't see them again. We won't be in the same building.
That's it.
So really, did we invite all the liaisons or chair people?
It's on the website, it's on the,
Oh, who's the web?
on the DESI
Who they are,
website.
and are there
It's
emails
easy
on
to
there?
find
If
who
the
they are.
right, but if there's been a chair, some of yours don't have one,
But there are people on there that,
we can find one.
yeah.
Problems that they have. We have, the problems that workers have, how they resolve.
Yeah.
What do you think, sir?
Well, said, progress,
There really have, there's one about obstacles.
Yeah.
Obstacles / problems.
of obstacles, problems to overcome the tools. Identification of obstacles, problems to overcome our tools, and information required to ensure success. Are there any problems we have to overcome ourselves?
And the group.
I'm feeling this much, there's one of us that's a bit physically abusive.
If you provide anger management,
I do this more of an impulse thing, I don't really, I do this impulse.
Seat control.
I am very pleased though that I've got a little boy in my room who's had issues and issues and issues. And every time we've done this,
No issues.
he's had, literally got under his debt, no, very bad.
Oh,
And
no.
we had a kind of a tease meeting. I told us, I said, I will not get a phone call or a text while I'm out here. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I have yet to receive a.
wonderful. 30 minutes ago. You just
Treat dates out of your room, you want to remember when you go back.
Oh, wait. All I have is, I will be so glad to see you tomorrow.
Was that the principal?
No, that's my teacher.
Oh, no.
Okay,
I jinxed her, I mean, it really just. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Email, we just received an email, all of us just received an email.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've all just received an email.
Mine was great.
Statute language in House Bill 1490 states that work groups shall submit monthly reports in an effort to provide you with some guidance. We suggest the following process. Each work group shall then submit a number to write the report. Please direct the report to Desi. Please distribute the report for approval internally. So you'll send it to all of us.
We're doing it.
In terms of, they just said this though, in terms of content, please keep the report timed like you are. These reports will paint a picture for legislature. They have it.
Oh, I'm not saying we're good because I don't.
That's right.
Here it is, we got it.
And we send that
Do we have
annually.
everything covered?
Yeah, we're not like this one.
Okay.
Statement.
And who'd you get that email from?
Do we have a statement of, do we have a statement of our?
You know, if you didn't get that email,
That's when we talked
you may
about.
want to find out who
That's
that
what I'm
came
wondering.
from, because when I say, did everyone receive that, they'll say, everyone, we have a correct email on.
Okay, so who did you receive that from?
Competency.
which
That's
is,
from the, that's from
that's
the
a Senate,
Senate.
yes. I didn't receive any of that, but I was appointed by the speaker.
I was by the
Lieutenant Governor.
and I didn't.
Okay, so we better just go ahead and do this.
Yeah, if
Those
you,
are what you need. Statement.
if you all remember, you all talked about,
Oh, no, that is at the top.
your goals, or
Very first thing we wrote.
it may be back in the notes, day one. No, you,
Okay, so, while people are thinking about different things, here is
Here's
our
our
latest,
common goal.
That's what I thought.
okay, guys, take a peek.
so, we've got this, I've just plugged in a little bit more stuff to make it a little bit more clear as things have become clear throughout the day. What I'm understanding is that the work we've been doing on the scope and sequence document, the highlighted ones will go here, all the non-highlighted ones will go here. For the time being, until we come with a different plan, relevant show me standards will appear here.
But those shouldn't be the content ones.
There should be the other
Oh,
side.
This should be the other
Wrong
side.
side, wrong side. Right.
Yes, and so we haven't determined what those are gonna be
Gotcha.
yet. So we still need to determine what those are.
Some of them might be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
You
relevant,
see at the top where you have strand 2, properties and principles of force and motion, that's the show me content standard is already up there.
gotcha.
I
Alright,
just buzzed, so I'm assuming so.
engineering, this will pull pretty much word
Yes,
for word
thank
from
you.
section 7 and 8 when we get around to it. I just tossed some dummy ones in here.
You might, instead of, you might call it scientific inquiry and engineering
You
design.
got it, please.
Start me to, please.
Scientific inquiry and engineering design,
Yes.
got it. Teaching suggestions, this still seems like the right, this is
Or
where,
how about, and other resources?
this is where possible lessons will be, glossary terms, other.
And I say resources
Yeah.
as the
Teaching
third one
suggestions
in
and
there.
resources, yeah.
Well, or just, he's got his headings, possible lessons, glossary terms, resources.
Yeah,
Cause then you could just list them right there,
Gotcha.
what they are.
You said, engineering design and scientific inquiry.
Scientific inquiry and engineering
I got
design.
it. Thank you.
and there's so little.
Yes.
Okay, so do you wanna talk about his goals or what do you wanna do?
I mean, God, that's beautiful.
For this one.
You can't even know how.
Eric, we put it right here, should we just leave it right there?
I think that's, and we, if you want to
Or do you
put it in
wanna,
there, it says statement.
It really is.
we can, first objective,
Or
and see, what do you wanna call
workers'
it?
objectives.
Okay,
More clear cut, more understanding than NGSS.
Oh, it is, yeah. Isn't that interesting? We did what we accomplished, which was take the good out of this document and make a bigger,
Like, I don't
better.
hear anything from them, it's like, judgment sign crazy.
yeah,
Just
I
I'll
know.
make 3 words, get back on the step, rather than mouth over to it.
So create a document that expresses what we want students to know and be able to do as members of the 21st century society, and that will be user friendly for all.
You're welcome. And Perry, I just sent that to you, sorry.
Description, we have that. Progress report, we said what we're working on and what we're gonna work on.
That's good.
So we got it?
And we'll
This
come
is
read it.
everything?
Yep.
Okay. You good?
Well, I said.
I didn't save it, so you need to save it where you want it.
Perry, it came back again, so you are P. Dunkerson.
There's the problem, it's not Urson, it's Dunkerson, D-U-N-K-E-S-O.
I am so sorry, thank you.
I have 2 other people try to do that. That's what it is.
That makes me so happy.
Oh, here's your mouse.
I was funny to be in.
Cause you've been working on standards for 2 days.
Oh, that was the one that got this in my life that.
Oh, yes, so too.
It's Duncan's son, and that's probably why we like to put in it, because Duncan, because your mind is smarter than, or put stuff together.
Right. Yeah, it jumps.
Duncan's son, and.
So are you Duncanson?
It's actually Duncanson.
Somebody wants.
They removed the N, put an E-S-O-N, so it's Duncan's, it's Duncanson, instead of Duncan's son, it's Duncanson.
Did they change it when they moved here?
It changed, actually.
Scottish?
It's Scotch Irish.
Yeah.
It changed when it came, it was actually here, it came all the way over,
Yeah.
And it didn't change till they went from the East Coast
To
to
the
the Revolutionary War.
Middle Midwest.
Yeah, they moved to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And in that framework, it interchanged from Duncan's son, which is what it
Yeah.
was,
Uh-huh,
to Duncanson.
Duncan.
So there was, they were
interesting.
pharmacists and doctors or something.
All right, so,
That's
we have
Should've
resources.
sent down.
Oh, my.
Yes.
There are scientific and for engineering side.
Yeah.
We switched over to goals, so on,
Mhm.
so on and so forth.
Beautiful.
Oh,
And the ones on this side, the science standards, that is what will go up here in the strand.
Whichever one we're addressing at
Whichever
that
one we're
point in
addressing for
time.
that. All right, so, the big thing, I'm trying to imagine what homework, are we willing to take on? That way when we come back next month, there'll be a bunch of stuff that we can start plugging in. Or people could be creating documents, emailing them so I could post them on the Google Doc. If somebody was working on identifying which pieces from strand 7 and 8 went with the various highlights,
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
then that would be very easy for me to plug in with someone
The only
correlating.
problem with that is there's a lot of discussion on each one of those.
Well, no. I'm not suggesting that somebody makes a final decision. I'm
No, I
suggesting that
understand.
somebody takes the first blush at it. That way we aren't starting from nothingness when we come back together.
No, we haven't decided as a group though, what the highest standard is on everything.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I'm saying. If somebody continues to play with this and says, hey, here's some recommendations, I think we all know kind of what we're doing now in terms of, highlighting these ones in yellow and then having I think we all know what the general game plan is. I don't see that there's as much value in starting from nothingness when we get back to what we've been doing. If somebody already said, hey, here's a proposal, then we can start off debating that rather than trying to analyze that. And I'm wondering what people think about that idea.
They've got a proposal, the stuff that they did, we just didn't get through it.
Yeah, I think we kind of did that.
But on that.
Yeah, but I could go through and clean up
Yeah,
the
we did
scope
that.
and sequence document.
That would be
So if-
fantastic.
I could go through and clean that up, because the revised ones are in the box, right?
And if you could send that to me once you do that.
And that's
I can
That's
print
what
this.
I brought 3 copies of, and I'm trying to do the 4th grade one now.
And so-
It still needs your.
And so you'd be willing to take all the information that we've got and update the
That
scope and
cross,
sequence document
yeah.
to add the highlighted ones? And if you did that,
No, I won't know the highlighted
You
ones,
want
but
the
I can
highlighted
at least
But you can make
get the
recommendations.
right ones in the right spot.
but you
I
can
can
make
make
recommendations.
recommendations
If you
after
would
she
send
cleans
me,
it up,
yeah,
I'll highlight and then
Okay.
send it out to
Awesome.
everybody.
Yeah.
And if you think, oh, that she's totally off on where that should be highlighted, then you highlight a different color, so that when we all come back, we can all look at it and say, okay,
Yeah.
green was right, yellow was wrong, or however we wanna do that. I'm more than happy to do that. I
So,
think that's a
so
good
Ann
idea.
gets hers out first.
She
right? And
emails
she
it
had
first.
Updates all the.
And then we can
the latest.
access all that on Google Docs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so do I send it to you to post it
But
to
we
your
don't
Google
want to
Docs?
change, see. the
No,
thing
I'm
is,
not
we don't wanna
changing anything.
See, on Google Docs, that's a working document, and people, if you don't want anyone changing it on Google
I
Docs.
think
We
she's wanting
can't.
to highlight
Don't need
everybody
it.
to sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
You block
No one's
that
gonna
down.
change the
Yeah.
documents, they're just
We
gonna
can't even
highlight.
add.
That's all I'm saying. Make it-
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't need that many chefs in one file.
No, right.
So
And
can
I
make
completely
it
agree,
a
Terry.
scope
I agree
document,
completely.
Or do you want to
Either
email
or.
that to me, or how do you want me to
You
do
can
that?
make a machine.
You can just so what you
I can
can,
download it
what
and
you
make
can do from
changes.
Google Docs, is you can download anything on Google Docs, you can make all the changes you want,
And then I'll
and
email
then
it
email
to
it
you.
back to me, and then I'll
Perfect.
post it back up so
That's
everybody
awesome.
can see,
Mhm.
This was Ann.
what your recommendation
Right,
was.
and then, and if you don't care, just
I'll
shoot
try to
me an
shoot-
email though,
yeah.
that when it does get sent, because I won't just check it
Right,
every day.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Now,
no, I
so-
don't blame you.
So once Ann comes back, it sounds like a few folks are gonna work on saying which ones should be highlighted, which
I
ones.
agree.
Well, hold on, Elizabeth, you have hers from K-1.
Do you not to take?
Or-
I do, if you- unless you
Either
wanna
that
go
or
in
you
and
can
highlight
put in
yourself.
K1s, you can put in K1s if you want.
Yeah, why don't, do you mind to do K1?
Yeah,
Well,
once,
you can
once
do
the document's done, you can put in
The only thing,
K1s.
the only question we had about one, there was a lot of repetitive stuff.
Oh, yeah.
that we were talking
Just like
about.
you guys came up with.
So we did,
Yeah, right, right.
on one, there was a lot.
Well, and when I clean that up, I'm gonna put that all in one big
Oh, okay,
line,
then I'll wait.
and then you'll have to see,
Right.
we'll have to see if we wanna cut some of those. Or
Right.
combine some of those when we get together as a group.
Well,
You'll just mark the ones that you think should be done.
and it may be more than one, because it's gonna come back for discussion to clean that up. Say, hey, I found two,
Right.
then we'll decide as a group, well, let's ask that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And email her as well.
Okay, so,
What I'll do is I'm gonna send out an email to everybody that says the revised document is now in Google Docs.
right,
So then anyone can go and
And
download
And
that
we'll start
and
looking
do
at
their
it.
own highlighting, and then we can cross,
and then when everybody comes back, you've already got your marked up documents.
yes,
and-
perfect, I like it, love it.
Will you send that information to those who are not here, or will you just bring them up to snuff?
So
Here's
all
my
of this,
problem.
anything that people want posted in Google Docs, they can email it to me, and so if 5 different people have 5 different versions of, the scope and sequence, then I'll just put a special folder on there that says people's ideas for scope and sequence, and then in that subfolder will be all the different versions of that document. People look.
So if we talk about, if we talk about Jamie or Alex and
And
Right,
then-
so
Beverly.
how do I get a complete list of email addresses?
So
You
there,
sent us an email list.
yeah, and there's also a list of,
In Google Docs of all the emails,
so
so I
I
can
need
get
to,
it
I
from
need to
there.
get that from Carrie and not take it.
It's not
Yeah, it's not
complete,
complete, that's why I
okay.
said I need to get that
So
from
you're
Carrie.
gonna update it.
Actually, it's pretty complete, this is pretty complete, I mean, I just went around and asked people, because I just wanted to have everybody to, at some point I wanted to make sure that I had.
But yeah, I need
I knew
that.
this letter was gonna be written, I wanted to be able to send it to everybody.
Okay.
Well, if you're gonna send that letter to everyone, then we'll have everyone's email, if Gary has
Respond
everyone's
to
email.
all.
Okay, is it gonna be important?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
reply to all is a
Do not
violation.
reply to all.
Do not ever reply to all. That is a violation.
So I have to type in all the addresses?
No, you can send one.
You can send to all,
You can send it
You
all.
can send whoever you want to, but you can't hit reply like having a conversation. Right.
Can I reply to all?
No.
That's
So what you
something.
can do,
You can reply to the person who sent it.
copy them, make a new contact group, and then maybe on another day say, I was thinking about, and a new email.
Okay, so,
I would never even reply to that.
My question is, for those that are missing, to bring them to where you are you gonna bring
that's,
Beverly up?
that's Carrie's job.
Okay,
I will bring Beverly up to speed, Beverly's been up to speed all
And
the
hopefully,
time.
I'm gonna send out maybe a note, I'm gonna send a note to every single person that I already know this on.
Perfect,
And I'm gonna tell them the dates that we're gonna meet, and tell them it's on a Saturday.
and where,
Obviously, and where, and invite them, please.
did you find out?
Just contact me if you're gonna be able to come, and, because we have to get more people than what we have in the we can't even put a stand
We'll
on
figure
it.
it out.
Okay.
That's not true. I don't think
No,
that's
it
true.
is, because we have to have a forum, you have to have,
He told us the other day, though, that this is a forum.
you have to have 4 sevenths, and we don't have 4
So
sevenths.
I think we're gonna have to have 9 people.
We did 9, and we don't
we only
have,
have 8.
Oh, we don't have.
we counted this up, yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
We have
Oh,
16.
no.
We had 9 yesterday,
Well,
but Beverly.
yeah.
No, we had 8, and we swapped out. Nobody can.
Yeah, we
All
have
right.
16 people on this committee.
So, quick
You know, some
question.
of them have never been appointed.
Bring it on back for a second before I let this.
I've wondered.
While other folks are working on this piece and this piece, is there anyone who is interested in working on this piece?
I would.
It is gonna be tough to work on that piece till we know what our assessment, what our
It'll be
standards
very
we want to
difficult.
assess are at the top.
Yeah, but if we're gonna get a rough draft of those out,
Mhm.
you can already start doing a little bit of brain.
That's
Well,
true.
the thing is, if we're pulling from NGSS, there's only 8 of them. So, there's only.
Okay, so here's,
No, we're not
Okay,
gonna put them in.
After she cleans up that scope and sequence, I absolutely love the storylines that Bob did.
I would love-
I would love
That's what I
if you
think.
would work on that after she cleans
Okay.
that up, and then let us
Where
all
would
approve
those
it.
go?
I'm already working on it.
That's a
Like-
cover page to that.
It's gonna be like on the,
Gotcha.
like their cover page.
Okay, good. So that's something I need to worry about. That's all.
No, sir, you do not.
So you want me to
Would you do
work on.
storylines, please?
Okay.
Please, you will make my day if you'll do that.
And then the other question.
Oh, glossary.
The glossary I can manage, because I've got the list of all the terms.
Okay.
So I'm not worried about the glossary, but I'm worried about any lesson plans.
Yeah.
When we get to that point, I honestly, in rock and roll, I don't.
Okay.
I was gonna say, in resources and how to intertwine, you are in my area.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's our thing.
Now, in regards to the glossary, do you have is it in the docs of the current existing glossary that Desi has?
No, I've just been keeping track of all the
Yes.
words that we've said that we wanted to add to our glossary.
Do you want, here's the hard copy to the current existing one that Desi has, which I'm sure has some term, it's on Desi, it's on Desi.
I can go from there.
Okay,
And as I stumble across terms that aren't, if I come across things that aren't Desi's, then, I'll just highlight that, this was pulled from this scientific resource, and we can debate about that later. But I'm just trying to imagine what
So
it
you
means
know
to
the-
speed things up.
Do you all need or want a copy of the report Perry is going to provide to the state board?
Easy, no.
Through our email.
Yeah.
And that's what it adopts? Good. I just wanted to make
So
sure.
for the
All right, cool.
secondary came in and asked if we wanted cross-cutting ideas for show me performance standards.
Yes, and
And we said, no, we don't, is that what we
We don't
said?
want to call it that. Later
Not
on,
at
we'll
this
decide on
point.
nomenclature. Right now, we want to use the same terminology for the show me.
Okay.
so we know where we're pulling what from.
For right now?
Yeah.
Right, and then
Okay.
again, we may rename it as a
Because
K-12.
what I'm
I can
wondering
change.
is if we look at we haven't compared the cross-cutting ideas to the show me performance
Right.
standards, and there may be a lot of similarities there that we're
Yeah.
missing. So we just kind of put it on the back burner for now. is that
Right,
Okay.
because we just put up there what we know right now.
Because I wasn't tracking it, I wanted to clarify that.
I think I put that on
the back burner.
Yeah.
Safe travel.
You too. You need
And
to.
it was very nice to get with you. Thank you so much you were so welcoming. I was very nervous about how
Yeah.
great I thought. She said, "You reach for the night."
Oh, no,
I told
oh,
you,
yeah.
but here was what we all wished for.
Thank you. Yeah, they're-
we were just also wishing for.
Yes, you were a good answer.
It was fun. Anybody want these grades?
All right, anything else before we pack it up?
Good, thank you all for a wonderful experience.
It is a good.
I look forward to seeing you guys in a month.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, snow plan, we'll put it on Google Docs.
Dude,
What is the plan? It's not gonna snow.
It is.
in November.
This winter is supposed to be worse than last winter. According to
Zip,
the farmers.
But will you have the email? Will
I'll
somebody?
email everybody, but that's what I'm saying, the November one, we really can't move it because they don't know.
I think we either meet November 20th or we don't.
Yeah.
I would say if we don't get to meet December, whatever we said, then we
And
yeah.
then we'll have to
Oh,
work
and
from
then
there.
we'll have to make it next year.
Right. No, those are
I just put discussion occurred on, named and format show me standards on the back burner for discussion.
No, I just wanted to make sure you guys got it. You don't have to do dates, it's really to notify them.
Okay, who lives closest to here?
Yeah, you're gonna have to find out what the
I don't
weather.
know.
You are probably.
I would be the closest person.
So
I can find out weather conditions here and see where people are coming from. But I mean, it's a whole lot of difference in Warrensburg
in southwest
and
Missouri.
Southwest.
But I would find it out here because they're gonna be coming from all over.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, that's what I said, I can get this, but there's no problem.
Do you
I
have,
just tell everybody, the weather here is unacceptable, or the weather here is great, if you can get here.
Because it's
Do you have
travels
cell phone
with great
numbers?
weather usually, so
Yeah,
you
you
usually get it before we get it.
Not everyone's numbers.
okay.
That will be it.
If you don't have mine,
Really, I do a
Thanks, Joe.
He only calls one, that's straight, everybody else calls one, two.
You should
I
also
can do
have,
that pretty quick too.
so we can say what we really.
yeah.
Good way to end it.
There we go.